And I've got Jordan back here.
Yep. Glad
And,
to
you know, I'm going through this list of shows and things in my head that we can do and all these destinations and everything. Jordan actually fulfilled one of my wish lists for fishing. For 60-something years on the way up the Sierras, I'd always pass by the lake in Palmdale. And I'd look off to the right and go, God, I want to fish there. Well, last week we did, and we had a blast. Did great.
It started off rocky. It was hard to find them, but then Danny started hooking up, and then my little group started hooking up, and then we ended up.
Well, yeah, what it was too, we're with a lot of good fishermen that want to fish the tungsten iron.
Yeah, we all wanted to fish irons,
the drop shots. You know, I had the mini, like a fluke drop shot and stuff, and I did get bit on that a little bit right off the, you know, just it tapped it. I didn't pull it down or anything, but you know, we kept fishing it because amongst the group there were a lot of avid trout guys.
Yeah,
right?
we're all throwing something moving
So
baits. I was sticking my
I
spoons.
waited long enough, and I said, all right, that's it. Pulled out the power bait, and it was every cast.
Yeah, for a while it was every cast. He got his limits really quick after that.
So guys, there's people from all around the world watching this show. They have no idea what Fin and Feathers is, where it is. So
let's explain it again.
Go backwards.
Gotcha. So Fin and Feathers, it's a private community lake that you have to pay. It's a membership lake in Palmdale. So what you have to do is you have to pay a certain amount to get in your first year. Depending on where you live, there's tiers. I think if you're in the Palmdale area, it's like $350 to $400. If you live in OC or LA, unfortunately, first year is going to be like $1,000. But they put more fish than any other lake pretty much in Southern California. They put 6,000 pounds a week, give or take. And they stock, I think their opener's like 20 to 25,000 pounds. And they stock from December to April, May. And the bass fishing is world class there because they eat the big trout. Catfish they stock throughout the summer. They have world class crappie fishing. I mean, it's just a ball to fish there. Yeah, so I got to take Danny out the first time, and
I was tickled.
We had a ball. We did good.
Got one off. We got one more off my bucket list.
Exactly.
You know, and it's amazing that place. Yep. But you know, and the trout. Jordan, the trout are every bit beautiful. They look like they come out of Crawley. The tails are all there. It's not like
healthy Mount Lassen, 2+ pounds.
Color was great.
We saw a lot of fish around us caught, that 7 to 8 pound class. I mean, they were
quality
fish, and they were fighting hard.
Yeah.
Could not beat these fish.
Yeah.
Good fish.
Guys, I'm going to read some comments because you guys have got a ton of people. Chuck Zimmer,
let's go.
Looking forward to a great show. Would be nice to see you guys again. Chuck Zimmer, I saw him torture his son with a spider crab on Monday night. And I have video evidence that I'm going to be putting up, Chuck, unless you'd like to make a donation to Friedman Adventures, and maybe I will not put it up. All right, Isaac says, good evening, everyone. Let the fun begin. Charles Zimmer says he's living the dream. And William Padilla says, good evening, fellas. Good evening, William. Thanks for joining us. And Isaac says, hey, is that cheating, power bait?
I don't think so. I think you got to do what you got to do to get bit sometimes.
It's absolutely true.
Yep.
You know, half of fishing is figuring it out, folks. It's figuring it out. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I threw the iron, threw the plastics, did a lot of stuff. And I'm watching some great fishermen here and his friends, Jordan's buddies too. These guys are all super trout guys. They're into it big time. And, just got to go back to the basics. Yeah. Nobody was throwing it. So guess what? That's what I did.
It was a struggle.
But I mean, it's a habit that I followed through, whether I was bass fishing, fishing on the ocean, whatever. You got to keep moving, trying something that's going to work. Whatever works.
Exactly. And if that's what they're going to eat, that's what they're going to eat. There's nothing you can do to change that. So we threw our spoons. We did good. I got a few on spoons. I got 2 on power bait, and then I got the rest of my limit on spoons. But it didn't happen until later in the day. They really didn't want the iron to start. They were real lazing around, and then they started schooling up. So you kind of got to hit them at the right opportune moments when you want to get them on jigs and power bait and spoons.
How many guests can you bring along with you?
You can bring along 5 guests along with you, and if you sign up, you can bring in, I think, 2 dependents. So you can bring in 2 kids under 18, and then you can also bring in your wife or your spouse. Yeah. So that counts. That counts. They already have their own cards. That counts aside from your 5 guests.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and the guests, I think it's like $25 a day. But I mean, you can grill out there. I found out you can take your grill out as long as you're not on the docks. You can take your grill out. You can have a picnic out there. It's really a nice, easy going lake.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it was nice.
Charles Zimmer just bought his way out of that video.
He bought his way out. We're good.
$20 he throws in. I was thinking,
you the man.
I was thinking a little more, but I'll let you skate on this one. Jeff Yeomans, good evening. Phil, Danny, and Jordan. Jeff is a great guy, military guy, so thank you for
Awesome.
your service.
Thank you for your
Absolutely.
service.
Superhead
Thank you.
Naughty Boy 78. Hi, Captain Kadota. You mentioned one of your mentors, Taka. Is that Taka from Taka's Bait and Tackle?
That
That's
is
it?
the same Taka. Yeah, forever.
Man is a
You know,
legend.
and I hope, Taka, you're doing better. I think he was under the weather or he's going through something right now. But Taka, heal up quick. I need you. I want you in here.
He's an absolute.
We're gonna grill
he's
you.
an absolute legend.
He
man,
is,
Man.
you
He
know,
started me fishing.
When are we going to get him in
He is
here?
my
soon.
mentor.
Soon, right?
Yeah,
I'll have,
much
to,
a
I'll have to
mentor.
moderate you two.
Well, we have stories back and forth that you guys are going to fall off your chairs. But I mean, these are true stories. But nobody's better man
No,
than
he's,
Taka. I mean,
he
it's
started
just
me off with my
unbelievable.
fishing. That was the first tackle shop I went into. He gave me a tackle box full of gear, and I used to walk in there, and his wife Katie was the best. Every time I used to go in there, man, if I had good grades, she gave me a bottle of power bait or something. I would always walk out with something, as long as I kept my good grades up. And guess what? Hey, I graduated college because of all this keeping my grades up for fishing. So it worked in my favor.
That was Taka all the way. And I'm going to tell you a story that you guys are going to crack up. When I was a second, and we would always have our little hiding places in the galley or up in the wheelhouse for our candies and this, right? So one time, the kids, like his son, Marty, also won the second tickets, and Steve Tanaka, who ran boats later too, they would hide the candies. And I would always play Yogi Bear, I'd always find them and sneak everybody's candy. So one day I got into Taka's stash. She goes, "Hey, put that back." Well, he used to take, a lot of guys don't realize this, but when we used to go down the coast to make bait a lot of times down at Ensenada, so I put a banda down that way and then have to run back to pick up our group. We'd be on the beach a lot of times. And Taka used to bring bags of candy for the little kids. The Pongeros would come out with their kids and he would bring candy. That's the kind of heart he has, So it was blessed being around a guy like that. We also had a lot of fun. We goofed around a lot too, which was half of it,
Yeah, he's a great
If you have any questions, you want to talk about Daiwa gear, Jordan can
Yep,
talk
I can
about
answer
it.
your questions. Anything for Daiwa gear or fishing questions in general. If you have questions for me, don't know why you got the guy right here to ask questions.
Oh,
he's
no,
the guy.
no.
But if you have any questions
no.
for me, you let me know.
Of
and I'll
course,
take care
I
of
was
it.
going to say Danny
No, he's the
Kadota.
guy.
Your show, man, is just getting great ratings. That last one with Pete Demers,
Yeah,
I can't
that was a
believe
classic.
some of the stuff you got out of
We
it.
had
That was
some,
great.
we had some
Yeah, that
fun.
was
We've had some fun over the
That
years.
really
That's
was.
what it's all about,
And Jordan, later tonight, you and I are going to go down on the docks, and as usual, I'll be filming, but you're going to be fishing for spotted bay bass.
Yes, sir. I'll definitely be fishing for spotted bay bass.
So we'll drop some kind of a video tomorrow. Pressure's on you to catch something.
I'll try to get something. Hopefully, I can get something, guys. It's not gonna be easy, but I'll try my best.
Actually, that's not the important part. The important part is the technique and what to do. And I know
Definitely.
you're really good at that for a young man.
I
You got a great
appreciate it.
presence.
No, I try my best.
All right, any questions for these guys? They are happy to cover it. Once again, we broke some news earlier today, and I'll break it to you again right now. The Redondo Beach bait boat sank last night. Don't have all the details, but we do know everybody was safe. Danny, that's the most important part.
That's the
That's
most
all.
important part. I mean, everything else will shake out, when they're probably going to do investigation, the whole deal, but that'll all shake out later. But the first part is getting the people off the boat safe.
Yeah. So back to fin and feathers for a moment.
Okay.
It's expensive.
It is.
Would you recommend it?
100%. I did. So I had my last job. I was working at with my buddy, and after work, man, I found out through Facebook and everything that they had some passes open left, the memberships. I drove from there at 2:30, and it took me 2.5 hours to get there with the traffic and about 3 hours to get back. But I drove all the way out there, couldn't even fish it when I bought the membership. That was during hunting season, just to buy the pass and come back. And then so far, I mean, every time I've gone there, I've always caught a fish. Never skunked once yet. So the lake has plenty of potential, plenty of fish. I mean, it's ridiculously filled with fish. They fill it to the gills.
Yeah, it was.
So
it was
100%,
nice.
I
It was nice.
100%, tell people get it. There's a few memberships left, and I think they cap it after a certain point. So once they cap it, you're done. You better know somebody to get in, or that's about it.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the diverse type of fish you can catch there.
Oh
right?
yeah, the bass there really impressed me as well. Last year, I mean, we were fishing for trout, and you hook a 2-3 pound trout, and you have a 8-9 pound largemouth come up and try to eat it off your line, man. And at that point, I'm conflicted. The bass fisherman in me is saying, I want to
Swim
see him.
baits.
I want to see him. I want to see him
Big
eat it. I don't
trout
care if I
swim
lose
baits.
it. And the other side of me is going, well, that trout would be really good on my smoker. So it's really, really tough. But it's so fun to watch them just come up and chase. They're so active there. it's just ridiculous. You just realize like, wow, they have to get big here. And most guys don't really fish for them as much there, so they're not overly pressured. You see a lot of these fish, they don't have hook marks, they're clean. I mean, they're just kept really, really well taken care of there.
They're beautiful fish.
It's a premier fishery.
Yeah.
All right, Worm King and Adamant Angler both threw us $5. You guys know who owns Worm King now, right?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, they're fishing with him a second
Yeah.
ago.
Hey, there he is. Right
Exactly.
behind me, man.
Hey, fish!
He's the executive director tonight. You'll be able to meet him at all the shows this
That's
year.
right.
Oh yeah,
We'll
definitely.
be sending you
He's got
his
some
way.
really cool stuff coming up, guys. Check it
Oh,
out.
beautiful baits, man.
Yeah.
Jeff Yeomans, Danny, I have a surface iron that was given to me by a friend. It is a Hustler. Ever hear of it?
You know, I haven't.
I haven't either.
I
heard
haven't,
of
to be honest with you. I thought I knew them all. Too bad.
All right, Yellowtail 69 Wasabi Captain Danny. Are you from Hilo, Hawaii?
Well, you know, the roots go way, way back. My great-grandfather came from Japan, and he stopped in Hilo, and he was involved in the fishing fleet there. So, I got a funny story. This one I got to tell you, too. Okay, so anyway, both my grandparents were born there in Hilo. Okay, because they're first-generation Americans, you know, or Nisei, excuse me. So, apparently, with his fleet, he did pretty well. He was pretty prominent, had a fair amount of money where he had a koi pond and a traditional Japanese garden. Well, he brought in koi from Japan. Can you imagine that in the 1890s? And that was pretty ritzy deal to do back in those days. And he came home one day. Now, my grandparents, my grandma, who was my sidekick when we fished all the time, she was home at the time, and she had caught and laid out all the koi on the grass, had pictures. And needless to say, my grandma was sent to Japan for school. Her brothers all came they went to SC and they went to Berkeley. But grandma got educated in Japan. And I think probably because she caught and put all the koi out there like they were on a stringer, you know, laying across the grass there. So, yeah, it's the roots do go back to Hawaii.
All
Back to Hilo. Yeah,
Very good. Charles Zimmer wants to know, have you guys ever fished Clear Lake? There are some monster bass there.
I haven't. I've heard a lot about
I
it.
have not too, but a good friend that I used to fish with, Danny Sansom, who used to have the New Land and the American Angler.
Yep.
He lives up there, you know, and he fishes. I'm sure he's doing a number on those things.
I
Danny's
heard they're
a great
incredible there.
fisherman.
They grow because of that big hitch. They don't have the trout in there. They have those hitch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Jeff wants to go back to the Hustler iron. He says the Hustler iron swims great. Unfortunately, I can't find any more or any info on it. Might be like a kind of a homemade thing or something,
be.
or what?
It could be. You know who you need to talk to who's pretty in depth with that is either Joey Shimizu at Taddy or Eric at Eric's Tackle in Pennsylvania. Eric has a historical accounting. We may have to do a run up there, Phil,
Let's
one
go.
day because he's got its fishing museum and
Oh man,
it's phenomenal. And I'm going to bring some stuff for Eric too that belong there. You know.
let's schedule that.
Yeah.
I'm all
Yeah.
over
We
that.
will. It's going to be amazing.
That sounds really, really
Yeah.
good. Naughty Boy 78. What days will you guys be at PCS show? Every day? When is the best day to catch you guys? We still haven't decided, but
Yeah, we haven't decided.
it'll probably be Saturdays a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saturday
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
yeah.
for
I'll
sure.
probably be on there
Yeah.
the weekend. I don't know if I'll be working with the Daiwa booth yet. They might have me. If they have me, I'll be there every day there at that booth. But hopefully.
Cool. Cool. Awesome.
All right, and Jeff says thanks for the information. Any thoughts? Ask Isaac. Any thoughts on eyes on rods, inserts, or save money on the chrome?
Are we talking for like saltwater rods when we're coming down for the rod inserts? Because there's a little, everybody has their different opinion.
Why
But
don't you do fresh and
You're
salt?
just
So-
talking about a new series.
yeah,
Why don't you
so
bring that up?
freshwater.
That's pretty interesting.
Freshwater, we do a lot of the SIC inserts, the titaniums. I believe inserts in freshwater are huge. Like for my trout rods, personally, on some of my rods, I have the titanium SIC or the titanium torzite guides. So those are the newest from Fuji, the latest and greatest. These things don't break. They're super, super, super smooth. They're helpful for really thin lines, like that 1 to 2 pound, 3 pound test. That's what they're perfect for. For saltwater, I see a lot of guys throwing the metal guides still if they're throwing the mono, but I've noticed with braid it'll cut right through it. So I believe that the Fuji titanium inserts are really important if you're using braid in saltwater. Braid is it can really easily eat through a lot of those old school guides that are just metal. Yeah, they're perfect for mono. They'll work all day for mono, but for braid, it'll cut right through. I've seen them cut, make a big groove in it, and then once your braid catches there and nicks, it's gone.
I know for a fact one of the things we're going to be doing too is they've been very difficult to get during, and all you rod builders probably understand this too, but during COVID, how in the world this entire fishing world allowed Weihai and Wuhan to do all the manufacturing for all these different products, that are components for our fishing rods. And this is something that's been strapping us for a long, long time. And so recently we've been in touch, and we're going to be implementing some of the sea guides. And he's got some titaniums I really like, and I actually saw him when I was up north for a while. We're looking at them, but sea guides is what we're going to probably be using on all my rods, all the Semperfish rods. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, they're just very difficult to get.
Tough to get.
Yeah.
How about wintertime bass? You ever do any of that, Jordan? Do you like fishing wintertime bass, structure fishing for the most part?
Yeah, it's mostly structure. I'm usually fishing a little deeper water, a little deeper than 15 foot. They usually like to stick in that area. You can always find fish shallow, but they're usually going to be a little bit more lethargic. It really depends. If you're fishing after a trout stock, fish shallow, because those bass, even though it's cold, they know if they eat 1 or 2 trout, that's their meal for a week. That's enough for them to hunker down. Once they go out, then once they eat them, they'll go out deep and they'll kind of just sit down, digest it, and just kind of turn on autopilot for a little bit.
Danny, you're a pro at that.
Funny you should say that. We fished a lot of the inclement weather, and some of our big bass, a lot of the real big bass came in December. But it was after the trout have already been stocked in the late fall. As the water's dropping, the bass, most of the bass will go on a big shad bite. And they used to get them on the spoons and everything. But the real big bass, I didn't get excited about it until they started eating the crawdads. And that's what flipped the switch for us. Because a great big bass can't catch a trout. They're too fast. There's no way. Plus, for some reason, Mother Nature tells these bass that you need the calcium and the cholesterol for the egg development. And so they need that calcium from the crawdads for the egg development. So it was funny because with all the different swim baits and things that we use with water dogs, mudsuckers, all those baits, when it came time for the pre-spawn, and it usually was December, January, especially in California. Yeah. I'm speaking in California here. When I targeted them real heavy, crawdads was the go-to bait, and that's what we got them on. I don't think I had a fish over 14 on a water, even though some of the water dogs were like this. We were paying over $1 a piece for those things. Yeah. But I never got a real big fish on a water dog or anything. But now you have swim baits you can use, trout. A lot of those come out of it. But for what we're doing, fishing specific structure with current, not just random, not just throwing the swim bait, casting around spots. That's what we use. The crawdads were our main, part of the arsenal back in those days.
All right, boys out there, I'm talking, boys and girls. I'm a chauvinist. I had a woman on the other night who was the deckhand.
Yep, I think
and
so.
And I kept saying, I bet you make good hamburgers. And she wanted to hit me over the head. Jolene Thompson, she's a good friend of mine. But somebody accused me of being a chauvinist, and I had to admit to it. In that case,
for shame.
Hey, hit that like button. Somebody just did. We were at 7. Now we're at 8. The next time I look up there, I want to see 20. Or Danny Kadota will run out and jump into the water tonight. Oh, I better not say that. They may want you to do that.
Yeah, I know. I'll make sure you go out there with me real close, and you're real close by. Yeah.
You rescue them, Jordan.
Oh, okay. I'll go in. I got the life preservers.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Any thoughts? Isaac wants to know on reels for someone starting saltwater fishing to start building your lineup. So I guess a beginner reel.
A beginner saltwater reel, our Saltus line is pretty good. I really like the Daiwa Saltus. A lot of the same technologies as our higher end Saltiga. Yeah, they're still a little pricey. They're in the $200 range, but for the money, it's really hard to beat. I mean, they have the composite body, so they don't rust up nearly as much. I mean, they have the aluminum side plates on it, so they're still heavy duty. I mean, it's just a great reel overall. I use them for the start. I use my Star Drags for live bait, and I can't complain one bit. I have the higher end Saltigas, and I think they keep toe to toe overall.
All right, that sounds good to me. All right. Robert Slagers, Danny, do you remember when the Japanese storekeepers in Gardena would sell tackle in the corner of the store? That's before the big tackle stores opened
Well,
up.
a lot
Remember
of
that?
a lot of the bonehead stores did.
Yeah.
You know, because we all fished. You know, that was a big part of it.
So
Yeah.
what, like a grocery store, a liquor
No,
store?
no,
kind of
like
thing, or-
hardware stores. There are a
Oh.
lot of a lot of those type of stores that were. So I know a lot of hardware stores for sure. Yeah, but I don't. I see. I grew up in L.A., so I didn't know about the tackle stores in Gardena till later, and by that time I was in Yo's and Arts and all those other guys. So.
That's great. Yeah. All right, because it's a huge part of the Japanese
Oh, yeah.
culture.
Oh,
right?
big time.
Yeah, fishing is
Big time.
it's a huge
The
identity.
sea.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big time. Absolutely.
You know, it's funny when I travel around the world, I'll see somebody out in some kind of a vessel, for lack of a better word, and we may not speak the same language, but I always look at them like brother fishermen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. We got that.
We
We got
got
the,
something in common.
the camaraderie.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Great show, says Drop Dead Fred. Charles Zimmer, do you guys know why they outlawed water dogs? I think some guy was torturing his kid with one, like some guy did with a spider crab. Just kidding, Chuck. Why'd they outlaw?
Well, they're not really, to be honest, they're not indigenous, to our waters for the most part, or neither are mudsuckers. The difference with the mudsuckers is they won't live because they're coming out of salt water.
Yeah.
So we'd have to bring salt water with us and everything. I can understand that. You don't want to introduce that. Although the state has allowed for quagga mussels and things like that they could have stopped. We put those sanctions on it and we told the fishing game that what they ought to do to stop it, but they never did. It went out of control and but
Now it's
yeah.
past.
But-
It's far too
yeah.
far gone.
But crawdads were always natural, crawdads and then the shad. So I mean, it's nice to keep the regular and the natural forage fish in those lakes and not introduce those things. But yeah, not only that, I got to tell you, even when I fished, and this was in the 70s and 80s, those water dogs were almost $1 a piece. So it was very expensive. And my return, like I said, never got any real big ones. I got a 14. My 14 was my biggest on a water dog, and that's a water dog that was like this, So all my real big fish came on crawdads. So, and that's what Mother Nature told them. That's what they needed during the spawn, and when they were at their biggest, their heaviest weight during the pre-spawn, and that's what they were feeding on to nurture those eggs. So that's what worked.
All right, well,
Yeah.
Isaac, and this kind of goes along with it, but he wants to know, do you catch bigger bass on lures or live bait? And you've got a world record, don't you?
Yeah, but that was live bait. But then you got guys like Butch Brown, and
does
Butch
that, yeah.
throws straight trout baits
Yep,
and
the
stuff
Depth's
like that.
250. He's got more
Yeah.
10-pounders than
Oh,
anybody in
Butch
the
is
state,
awesome.
as far as we know now.
Butch
here,
is
yeah.
phenomenal fisherman. And I'm not just talking about bass fishing. I remember even when he started ocean fishing. Well, it's funny because I think he went straight to Taka's shop and started fishing on Taka's 18 there. And right off the bat, he's into 300s. It's not luck, folks.
Yeah.
Butch is a great fisherman.
Overall, one of the
period.
greatest. He's a legend in the swim bait community. He's a legend in the fishing community in general.
It's
He's
his
great.
mindset.
Yeah.
I will tell you one thing about Butch. Butch and I thought we would snocker all these guys. Butch and I were teamed up for a couple night tournaments, and we figured, we're going to smoke these guys. You know what Butch and I found out? We don't know squat. I mean, we were doing so lousy, we were just laughing the whole night because we go, here we think we have all our spots. When you fish at night, all your book for your daytime fishing, you can
Rules
take
change.
it, throw it out,
Yep.
But I don't know of any better fisherman than Butch.
Oh, he's incredible.
But it was fun because both of us sit there and laugh at ourselves, thinking, okay, we're gonna kill him. We're gonna kill him on this bass fishing tournament. But how little we knew, and it's a whole different game. It's amazing.
Drop Dead Fred says it is time for palomitas, which is Spanish for popcorn.
All right, there we
He's
go.
enjoying himself tonight.
Perfect.
Way to go, Fred. Jeff says the old school Daiwa Sea Lion reels are
Yep.
just
And we
perfect
still make
for
some of the
beginners.
older ones, so yeah, they're definitely still a viable option these days. Yep.
Joe Valerio wants to know, what's the oldest tackle shop in SoCal? Is it Johnny's Sport Shop in Pasadena, possibly?
I think it is. I think it was 1952 or something like that. And I knew Johnny and Itzy very well. Bobby, their son, runs it now, and nephew, Warren. But I believe it is.
It might be.
I think it is the
It
oldest
was either
one.
that or I was thinking Wiley's maybe from Malibu. I don't know when they opened. They opened back in
Well,
the
I remember-
early 1950s as well, didn't
Yeah, I
they?
remember going to
Yeah,
Wiley's.
and they're still
Yeah,
going.
and they're still
I
going.
remember
Yeah,
Wiley's going up
Old
there
school
surf fishing.
surf
I wonder if it
fishing
was the same family. You know
Yeah, it
this,
is.
Is it?
Jen
There you-
is up there.
Oh my God!
I mean, this
yeah.
was.
Yeah,
a few
no, I
years
remember
back when I
stopping
went
there.
up there.
Wow,
so
Yeah, I remember
I went
getting
up to
our bait
chat with
there.
her. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
a lovely
we
person.
fished the surf derbies and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it could. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, that's a-
I'm
that's a
actually
good
kind of
one.
curious myself.
That's a
Let's
good
do
one.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Isaac throws us $20 and says, "You guys are great. Thank you for the great information.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Isaac.
Yeah, thank you.
guys.
That means so
Thank you,
much
Isaac.
to all of us here." Rick Slater, a friend's girl, caught a 36-pound flatfish, a halibut, on a water dog.
On
How do
a
you like
water
that?
dog.
On a water dog.
Why
That's
not,
impressive.
right?
Why
Well,
not?
I guess.
Well,
Where do you get the water dogs anymore? I mean, I used to. Well,
Must
we
have been
Well,
bass
this
fished.
might have
Yeah.
been a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rick, when
that's
was
amazing.
that? Let us know when that was.
So they can live
Yeah.
in salt water
Well,
for a period of
because
time then.
there was a time when bait was tough. Us bait fishermen, I did stuff like I flew in. Had crawdads flown in from New Orleans.
Really?
Because it was so cold, they were all
Food grade.
burying here
Oh
in California. So, as far as I know, I had the only crawdads
Crawdads,
around.
yeah,
here.
the only
I
ones.
brought a
And you had
lot.
those ones with
I had
big
some
red
die
ones.
out, big red ones.
Big reds. Yeah.
But we had to use what we had to use, and that was the only game in town.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I remember driving to Arizona to get water dogs, and found out that wasn't really worth it. And then we had mudsuckers, which swam good. They took off down, but because you have to have them in salt water,
Yeah.
in brackish water, it was expensive, and you had to maintain them. You have to keep changing water. So I'd have to, right down here on the docks, bring buckets of water home to change the water out. It was too much
Yeah.
maintenance,
It's too much work.
and we weren't getting any real big fish with them anyway. So it was
The crawdad
consigned.
was definitely
the crawdad
the
was the
bait.
Does that surprise you that a halibut would eat a water dog?
No,
Yeah, me either.
No,
Right? I mean,
no.
they eat lizardfish.
Sure.
Right?
absolutely.
Hey, is there still
Absolutely.
lizardfish around? I don't see them anymore.
Caught a few.
I'm
It's been
sure
a
they're
while.
still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta be a few somewhere out there.
Does this surprise you? Somebody showed me the other day, and he said, you can't say where, but it's somewhere around here locally. He goes there time and time and time again and catches sablefish full speed.
Sable.
Remember we used to
I'm
catch
gonna follow
sablefish?
this guy because
Yeah.
I love eating black cod.
Well, I'll tell you who it is later. Maybe I'll double.
We'll tie a string to his boat and we'll follow him.
Yeah, I kind of know where it is, but
Breadcrumb
he
trail.
swore me to secrecy. But
Sablefish.
I mean, do you remember when Redondo, you could go out and just smear the bars?
It was
or-
trash.
Yeah.
It was trash, but you know what?
They were good eating.
All you people now, you'll know it as miso black cod.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you know what that is, you'll be out there fishing them too.
Well,
Yeah.
so and those commercial guys are in that super deep water.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
guy is getting them in like
Yeah.
200 to 300 feet.
Well, that's
Okay, so
pretty
he's
shallow.
shallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, rock fishing basically.
But you
Oh
know,
my
they're
God.
in such demand.
Wow.
You can go up to Alaska now, and they have trips specifically for people that come in from Hawaii or Japan to go catch sablefish.
Yeah.
And they do it on those big electric reels because it's so deep.
You can't.
You
yeah,
really don't
you're
wanna
gonna be
wind 'em, yeah.
rock caughting it all day.
But
It's
you're going to
not- it's
bring
too
in
hard.
some premium fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Big electric reels. Daiwa makes those.
Yeah, we
There
make
you
them 1200 size, the big ones. We make the 500s for the local rockfish. I'm thinking
you
about
go.
getting one myself for the local rockfish. I mean, it's worth it when you go to a place like San Nick or where you know you're gonna take in some big fish.
All right. Rick said that halibut was caught in 1983. He had a tackle shop in Riverside. The guy. All right. William Padilla. He says, hey, what about braid eating through stringless steel guide?
See, I've heard of it happening before. I've heard not eating through it just kind of has like that. You'll have a nick or two in it, and if that hits braid, it'll instantly cut it. I've heard of it. I mean, I've heard some people swear by it and still say it works fine, but
Yeah, I've never had that happen yet, but yeah. But I think there were some of the early braids, depending on the carriers,
They were rough,
the number of things.
yeah.
Yeah, they're much more abrasive.
well, if they don't have an insert on them too, is
Yeah.
kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, I think they're
Well,
talking
yeah.
about the main, just like
Could
some
be.
of those rods still use those
Could be.
just pure stainless steel.
But you're right. See the early
rough.
carriers like Russ first had
2 or
with
3 carrier, yeah.
with 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I would end up with little red lines on my finger because it would cut through it. And now, this stuff that we brought back from Japan, I brought back some 16 carrier stuff. It's like silk.
Yeah, it's
It's
so smooth. You can almost you can't almost you feel
Unbelievable.
it. It feels like mono.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right. Another question for you guys. I want to take trout swim bait just to try it in the ocean.
I've heard of guys taking out the Huddleston Deluxe. It's an 8-inch swim bait, and they're throwing it for link cod out there to make it look like a mackerel or something. And I heard they were doing it. I don't want to throw a $35 bait for lingcod. That's
that's
a
what I was gonna
one-time
say.
bait. That's a
I'm sure it
one-time
would
bite.
work.
I think I'll throw a live mackerel over that, just personal, but
Yeah.
should work.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
see why
sure
it
it'll work.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll work.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like when I go on I want to this year. I want to dedicate some time to getting bent on goofy stuff. You know what I
You
mean?
never know. Take a big swim bait, throw for calicos. I heard guys throw them for calicos. You never really know. It could work.
You know, I actually went to Catalina with Evan Salve.
Oh, Salve. Okay, yeah.
Okay, this is many years ago with my son, and we had these swim baits. They were giant. I'm going, you gotta be kidding me. And so he said, chuck them in there and wind as fast as you can. I go, really? And he goes, burn it. And it didn't seem logical to me because when we're fishing bass, we never did that.
Yeah.
Man, freaking wide open. It worked. It was amazing.
Yeah, I know they throw those 9, 10-inch swim baits and
Yeah.
weedless right over patties, man, and they just kill them on
Right.
it. It's ridiculous what they
Just
do.
burn
yeah.
it. And it was,
Yeah,
it
that
was-
guy, he used to be a big-time calico bass guy. Now what's he doing? He's in Mexico now fishing the big sailfish, right? I think he does sailfish tournaments a lot.
You know, he won. Didn't he win the
I
business?
think he won one of the big ones, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he won a
I
big
got to meet him
one.
one time. I know
Wow.
I knew he won one of the big
Very
ones.
nice young man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool guy.
Yeah, and but yeah, he won the $1 million or whatever it was. I don't
Yeah.
know, with the side pots, it's more than that.
Oh
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that was
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Do you guys like fishing? Have you been down to Cabo? Have you been down to Mexico?
I went to Puerto Vallarta once.
And
And
did you get a big yellowfin?
No, unfortunately not. The yellowfin weren't biting. We were on the troll. One other boat got him, one of the little pongas. We just cut our losses and decided to fish for those big jack crevalles on light line.
Yeah,
I told him I
that's
wanted 15, 20 pound. What was the lightest thing he had in the boat? And he looked at me and he goes, "You're crazy?" I go, "Let's drop down." We're hooking 15, 16-pound jack crevalle. And they fight pretty good, so I just wanted a fun fight. Anything out there that would fight. So,
All
There
right,
you
well,
go,
I've got you-
man.
He's
I
got
you
the-
two convinced we're going cabrilla fishing,
Well,
right?
see, I love that.
That
I
sounds
mean, I got
amazing.
hooked going down there 2 years ago, down to Bay of LA, and that cabrilla fishing was just
It's
off
electric,
the hook.
huh?
It was unbelievable on the swim baits. Those Daiwa, the
SP minnows.
SP
Yeah, the
minnows,
SP minnows
unbelievable.
definitely are really top.
that was a blast.
Yeah, we gotta go. Come on,
Yeah,
boys.
I'd
yeah,
love to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan, you gotta get 3 days. Oh, this is a work trip.
Yeah, exactly, right? R&D.
That's
All
right.
Yeah, research
Greg,
and
Oh,
development.
absolutely.
Greg, are you listening? This is a work
Smoke-
trip.
Research
Smoke
and development.
testing.
Yeah, just
Smoke
testing.
testing.
That's all.
Exactly. All right, let's go to William Padilla again. I'd rather throw a spoon, catch a mac, and use that rather than lose a $7 spoon.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. I
$30
think
lure.
I'm
Good
with you there.
choice. Good
Yeah.
choice.
William, you're thinking the right way there, man. Rick Slater, grocery outlet has sablefish sometimes. I wonder about sourcing and naming fish from other countries. Joe Valerio, Bill Cimentel, who's been on this show, by the way, used his BBZ trout bait for yellowtail. He would modify them for salt, though. Saw that on one of his YouTube videos.
Yeah,
Do
he
you
said-
know him?
I've never met him personally.
Yeah.
I've met him a few times at like the the shows, but I know he used to drill in holes and add like little BBs and stuff, or add salt water and then plug it up, so it'd be really heavy.
No, I remember that lure because we used to Spurl made it for them. But
Yeah,
they're
they used to
nice.
make
They're
them
nice,
do-
and they had different sink rates and floaters, and
Yeah.
yeah, they're nice.
All right, Tony Russo. I got a Dorado on kiwi fish salmon jig
Quick fish.
last
Big
year.
fish. That's
Quick
an
fish.
old school bait. Yeah,
You know how it is? It's like what's it shaped like a?
almost like a banana. Is that that's the one that's shaped like a banana bait? It's a
Kind
trolling
of,
bait.
yeah,
It's a
and it
trolling
just-
bait.
it just
It goes
runs,
side
yeah.
to side. It can't
Yeah.
cast for nothing.
That's what we
It's a
used to use
trolling
for
bait.
king
Quick
salmon.
fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Quick fish, yeah.
Offbeat question. Super Bowl predictions. Hey, I like this, man.
I mean, I'm thinking Eagles, but I
Eagles
could be.
by how much?
Don't know. I won't tell you how much. I'm
Oh,
terrible
come
at the whole
on.
thing.
These guys want to know.
I'm terrible at the predictions, so hey, don't go by mine. But I'm just thinking by just looking at how they're playing, their offense is pretty solid. So I'm thinking they got it. I'm hoping they got it. That's what I got my
Alright.
money on.
Danny Kadota.
Well, you know what's really funny for someone that I played football.
Yeah,
You know,
you don't follow it anymore.
the last few years I haven't. Yeah, the minute some of those guys started taking knees, I said sorry.
Yeah,
You know,
that was.
I'll stay with hockey or stay with
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a baseball
Because
guy usually, so
I grew up, like I said, I grew up in the hood, and we still had the respect enough to pray before and after games and stand for the flag. And if you wavered, we did laps. That's so it was old school.
Yeah.
And so, when they lost that respect for what's protecting them and giving them the freedoms to do what they're doing, I
You
lost.
said bye-bye.
I said, yeah,
Okay.
I'll go fishing.
All right, well, I'll give my prediction. Eagles by 8.
By 8. All right.
I say, and I think the line is 1.5, a point and a half. I think the Eagles are favored. Not that I have looked into this.
No, yeah, not like we're
I think
encouraging.
the
you,
over
but-
under is like 50. So I'm going to go Eagles to the under. How's that? The Eagles defense is going to show up and do a good job. All right, so all you have to do, based on my Albacore predictions, is now bet the Chiefs to the over, and you got it. It's a slam dunk for you. I just gave it to you. All right, let's see. I need to place some bets. So he's asking, Danny, where did you play football?
At Dorsey. You know, we had a, if you want to get into that, we had a great team. Now, our first year, we had a team that went 0-8, and we got ridiculed so bad. All of us that came back, we said, this is not going to happen again. And I played with Butch Johnson, who made a famous super diving catch in one of these Super Bowls against Denver, the Broncos, I think it was against Elway. And he was one of my teammates, and Butch and I made all league our junior years. But Butch made this catch that was just unbelievable. But we went from an 0-8 team to a league championship, and then in our senior year we played against Carson in the playoffs, and we were the closest ones to beating Carson. Carson was the national champ that year for the country, and Wesley Walker played on and everything. And if any of you recall the history, remember that movie? Remember the Titans? They had mentioned that the Titans were the second runner-up nationwide. Well, the first number one school was Carson, the Carson Colts, and you know we played against them. We gave them the toughest struggle in the playoffs.
What position did you play?
Well, I when I played when we played B, and being short as I am,
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh man, I could bracket it up in the B, and so I made all league at defensive tackle. But then when we got the varsity, I got moved to offensive guard. Which was tougher, that I had to control my anger and my thoughts, and you have to be focused on the play.
Yeah.
Where defense, you could just let it go. That was better for me.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
What did you weigh in those days playing offensive line?
I played 165,
Uh-huh.
165, 170. But yeah, I was benching a lot. And we just had attitudes. And actually, my other guard was about the same size. It was really weird because we had Shropshire was 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", and then we had all our tackles were 6'3", 6'4", and then had two shorties in between. I mean, they probably didn't even see us. But yeah.
Small guys with a lot of heart. Rudy.
Yeah.
Rudy. You can see it right there.
That was Tex and I. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Heck yeah, Danny, got to stand for something. Isaac is praising you for your mentioning that you want guys not to kneel during the national anthem.
It's about respect.
Yep.
Naughty Boy 78 prediction: Rihanna is gonna kill it for the halftime show. You are probably right, Isaac. I'm a Marine vet, so there you are, man.
Thank you for your
There you
service.
go. Well,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
dad, my uncles and my dad, they all served. So I mean, there's a big thing when it comes to honoring our military. Yeah.
Ned Nakasuka, amen, brother. Take a knee to pray, not for the anthem.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Man,
Absolutely.
you started something here.
Well, you know what? We need it. This country needs it. I'm sorry, and I'm going to put it out there. That's where I stand with that.
Yeah, when I was younger, I didn't wave the flag that much because I felt like everybody was waving the flag. But now I wave the flag a lot because it feels like not that many people are understanding the greatness of the United States of America. And now I feel like you gotta stand up and this is the best place in the world. I travel a lot. I've lived all around the world. I know better than anybody. This is the best country on the face of the earth.
There's no doubt about it. I mean,
No doubt.
and personally, my generation, my 4 of my uncles were in World War II. 3 of them went off to Europe. One of them went out the Pacific to decode Japanese. Now that was a dangerous deal.
Yeah, man.
Being Japanese American, being in a B-24 loaded with fuel, trying to intercept Japanese missions, they're extending the flights over the Philippines, intercept Japanese messages. In fact, one of his buddy's units was the one that pulled up the information that Yamamoto was going to be in the car, a transport plane, and they sent up a flight of planes and shot him out of the sky. And that was the MIS, Military Intelligence Service. But then the other ones went to Europe. And I had one uncle that went through from the landed at Anzio, lost a lot of friends. But the last one, which really messed him up, and this is why we didn't know much about World War II, was his unit was sent out in the morning for reconnaissance still, and they pulled up the Dachau. Now, can you imagine pulling up the Dachau when you got family back here in the U.S. behind machine guns and in barbed wire, camps? So it messed them up. So we were never allowed to ask our uncles about what happened in World War II. And then my dad did 2 tours in the Air Force in Korea, and the last one he ended up surviving a crash and spent a year in hospital. So my hat's off to him.
All right, we're getting back to fishing, but
Yes.
we all feel like this
There we
ain't
go.
Yes,
necessary.
sir.
And we're not quite off it yet. Isa says, Danny, I'm with you. We've got off course. Yes, Phil, no one is running to help other countries except the young men and women in our military in the United States of America.
Yeah.
That is for
Yeah.
sure. Yellowtail
Yeah.
69 was Sabi. My dad's brother was 442.
Yep, they all were.
That was a legendary
Yep.
infantry. Everybody knows about that. It
Yeah.
was Japanese American. Man, that's huge.
All right, let's get back to fishing. And
do
let's. Do you have something you want to talk
good.
about, or do we want to talk a little bit about what you're going to try to accomplish tonight? And that is catching spotted bay bass, what kind of tackle you need, when's a good time to do it.
Yep.
You have to know somebody that'll let you on the docks.
That's important, unless you're a kid. When you're a kid, try to get away with it as much as you can. When I was a kid, man, jumping on docks all the time, you got away with it. They were cool with you. They just kick you off. Now, they're probably going to call the cops, and they're going to call me trespassing. So keep it legal now if you're older. But yeah, so what I have right here, just some, smaller Daiwa rods, just, basic, simple tackle. Spinning rod, 7 foot, 7'6" is what I like, just to kind of get off the reach. Got a about size 3,000 reel, 20-pound braid. Oh,
Yeah, let's see that.
and then we got the,
This way with the reel.
right.
Yeah, there you
All right.
go.
So we got about 10-pound leader on there. This is just a really light setup. What I like to throw on here is little light Kitex, quarter ounce heads, throw Ned rigs, small stuff like that to match crustaceans, whatever you can get. This is more of the finesse setup. A lot of people, I usually like throwing finesse setups. I know a lot of guys are crazier and they throw the heavy, up to 20, 25 for those really big fish. I just like to match my tackle to my fish. So yeah, I'll get a lot more small fish, but they fight hard. They fight harder than almost any little largemouth you're gonna get. They're scrappy. So, best time to do it, nighttime's a really good time to do it. And I usually like an incoming tide. I like it when it's from, it's lowest of the low to getting to, starting to come up, water coming in. Those fish like current. They really, really relate to moving water. Slack tide, you'll get them, but it's really hard. You got to find that real isolated structure if you're going to get them during that really low tide. So,
Yep. That's the key deal.
All right, so they are nocturnal. You
I
can't
think
catch
so.
them in the
You can get them in the daytime too, no problem.
But
But
it
I think
seems
at
like
night,
better.
I think at night they start coming off their structure a little better, start going after, start chasing a little better. I've noticed that I can kind of up my retrieve a little bit, a lot, at night, and it seems like they chase a lot better. They hit a lot harder for me. But yeah, I'll fish them early morning too, no problem. But they're really close to structure early. When it comes down to, they're real ambush predators, in the day. So you got to throw near dock pilings. You got to bounce your baits around. You got to make sure you stay near dock pilings, rocks, something, that they relate to.
How about under a boat? Is that a good place?
Always under a boat too. Under a lot of these fishing boats. Every time I go on like a 3/4 day or a half day, before we go out, I'll have a little spinning rod on the boat with something tied on. And while we're sitting there, everybody's getting their beers and their burritos. I'll, at the bait barge, you can drop down a few casts. They got some nice spotties there. Or, right when we're at the docks, just kind of flip and pitch all the little nooks and crannies wherever you can. You can always pick off a spotty or two before you go, get your skunk off, then you'll get your burrito. Then go get your burrito.
Yeah, getting the skunk cuffs. That's a good deal.
Yeah, that's a huge point of it. And I've been on a lot of trips, especially if I go on a bluefin trip, I got to drop a line, get something, because you can go out and see a lot of nothing. So I like to kind of just get my skunk off early, just by something,
That brings up a question. Are you superstitious about fishing? Do you have any rituals or things you won't do?
Us Buddha heads always had this thing about no bananas, and it got to the point where we had some stories done. But I don't remember Bob Sarber when he was with Western Outdoor News, and they went to all the Peterson's publishing magazines, the hunting and fishing. But he did one on superstitions, and so I did that thing on bananas. And you know, it originates from when they would bring bananas over, and in the crates came these huge spiders.
Tarantulas. Right?
Tarantulas,
Giant
right?
tarantulas, yep.
So that was a big deal. But you know, we kind of embraced that on our boats, and I don't know, it was just us Buddha heads, but my mom knew an artist that had this sketch made up in it. I've got a picture of it. I'll have to bring it in one of these says maybe next week or so if you remind me. And it said, monkeys and fishermen are welcome, but leave your bananas at home. And it had a monkey up on the mast, like on the you know, one of the antennas holding a bunch of bananas, you know.
Bananas on the boat
And
is
so, and there's a couple other people caught on to that, and I had other artwork that was sent to me with no bananas and blah blah blah. So
bananas on the boat's always been
It's
bad
always
news.
been.
It still is bad news. To a lot of
and
people. Yep.
okay, even more unbelievable, one of the very first videos that was ever done on our sport boat was taken by Steve Tagami, who used to be, these guys all worked at down your way, right?
Yeah.
Anglers Tackle Box down at Seal Beach,
Yeah.
right? And he and, oh, God, Darren runs,
Sumo?
no, American Tackle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, those two guys were the managers there, and they had the first video cameras, so they put it up on top of the Mustang. It was a flat calm day, so you could see the whole fleet. None of the boats were moving. We're all stopped. There was a scratch bite. And fortunately, those guys were really good fishermen and light line fishermen. So you know, we never knew what we had. We ended up highlining it that day because we had good fishermen. They knew how to fish the light line. You know what shut us off? And this is on camera, folks. The bite shut off. We go, what the heck's going on? You know, so we said, put a couple scoops on it. No, nothing. You know, a banana drifts across the stern of our
And
boat.
there's the
It
problem.
is on camera, Phil. I have that video. If we
That's
could find,
awesome.
If we could find some way to transcribe it and show everybody,
I'm sure, man. We got to
it's
do
a
that.
true deal. Yeah,
Bananas on the boat.
I have
yep.
it. Just
It's
proof prop.
That's one of my big
proof
superstitions.
positive,
I don't
yeah.
do the banana on the boat thing
Yep.
either.
Mark says, hi, Phil, Danny. Hey, Danny, when and where can I buy a rod set from you? Will you guys be at the Bar Hall show? We'll be there. We won't have a booth. We'll be announcing where we're going to be. We'll be with Sam over at Island Fishing Tackle. We'll
Yeah.
be announcing that,
Yeah,
Mark.
or you get a hold of us on Instagram too. My daughter, you know, we can get the blanks out there.
Semperfish?
Semperfish,
Semperfish rods.
Semperfish rods,
Uh-huh.
and we'll have the blank. The blanks are available.
Yep.
We are negotiating. I think I told you with Sea Guide, so I think we'll be up in
Build your
production.
guys' trout
And
blanks. Trust me, that's the way to
The
go.
graphite handles, and,
Yep.
and actually next week I'm going to have Brad coming in to explain that too. He's
Oh, yeah.
the ones that
The handles make a huge
handles-
difference on my trout rods, especially.
It's absolutely. I don't know why people haven't grasped it, but when they get it, they're gonna go, oh wow.
It takes a while for something
Yeah.
to kind of catch
Well, it's
on,
in a-
but it
you know,
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened on my trout rods. I think it's sensitivity-wise, it's increased.
Well, I
tenfold.
dealt with that when Russ brought out Spectra.
Yep.
When I started, straight saltwater graphites with G. Loomis, we took a lot. But it's not everybody that can fish all these things too. You got to know you got to know how to handle it and how to fish.
Exactly.
All right, hey, give us a like, everybody. Pound on that like button before Jordan and Danny break into tears. And then
Yeah.
I have to go out and buy
Oh, yeah.
Kleenex, and it just really gets messy around here. So please hit that like button. Share these videos as you like them. Remember, I'll be with you tomorrow at daybreak for the morning briefing. So looking forward to doing that. All right, the Knock says, amen, brothers. Great cast. Phil, Danny, Jordan.
Appreciate it.
Loves it, man. Thank you so very much. Isaac wants to know, hookup baits or tube baits?
I personally don't throw hookup baits myself. They're a little pricey. I'm not gonna lie. Two tube baits for what? $12, $10? That's
Wow.
a little
Are they
pricey.
up to
Yeah,
that?
they're up to that now. So I'll throw tube baits. I throw a lot of other companies' tube baits, whatever I can find really that's kind of cheapest. The tube baits do work. I got one tied up, but I mean I don't always throw them. Mostly I like to stick to my bass baits. I like to go for, it's most of my bass tackle. So I'll throw those little Ned rigs, little tiny Senkos, stuff like that. Those Kitex are killer. I think that's squid scent or something in it. Those things have paddle. Those paddle tails are so much more powerful. That's always a good technique. You can only get one fish per though, basically. So.
Joe Valerio says, hey, Jordan, I do the very same thing. I always fish for spotties on the sport boat while they're
I've
getting
seen
bait.
some big spotties caught. I've seen 16, 17, 18-inch fish. I mean,
Nice
these are, and they fight hard. So
Those are
that 10-pound, I'm
beauts,
pushing my luck though, but they're fun. If you know how to fight them and you kind of can get them off the cover, it's worth it. But they're
That
fun.
would make a delicious fish taco, wouldn't it, Danny? I know Jordan's gonna kill me.
No, I gotta go and put them back. Calico though, that's a little different. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, I know. We have to put it back.
Yeah.
You're like my son, Philip. All right, William Padilla said, why no bananas? I think these guys have answered that. Mark says, is banana bread okay on a boat, Danny?
I never asked that question.
Because
That's
I make
important.
killer banana bread.
I like banana bread.
And a lot of boats, they don't. It's just something that's stuck with us for a long.
Yeah, I don't
long
think there's
time,
any
and it was more
scientific
fun.
proof
Yeah,
behind it.
yeah.
I don't
Would you,
think.
like, if you saw a guy with bananas, would you go throw it overboard?
I
Be
would,
honest,
I
man.
would. I wouldn't tell them.
I wouldn't.
So
I
you
wouldn't.
throw it-
Do not touch any of
It
his
might
gear.
be in
That's
the
bad.
wake.
Yeah.
But
Don't
I
touch
don't
any of
know.
his gear. That's
No, it
bad
depends.
right there.
Depends. If we're getting bit, and I've seen it now. I mean,
Yeah.
on long range boats they have it, and you need that potassium, and I think for keep from getting cramps, that helps you too. So I mean, there's some okay things.
Now
with
you
it,
start
know.
talking like an old
That's
man,
just-
like me.
Yeah.
Need the potassium.
The potassium.
Yeah, exactly. What if I bring a banana fruit leather?
Fruit leather. What is
that?
So we like dry
I have
banana?
no idea. You
Really?
want,
Dry
What is
banana?
that?
I don't know what that is. Sorry.
you're gonna be chewing on it all day, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna let us know.
Like
Isaac
bubble
says,
gum?
Okay.
Phil, opportunity. No bananas on the boat. Tommy Rothery always have bananas on the Polaris.
Yeah,
Submarine.
some of the
So
guys.
some guys do.
Yeah, some of it was just.
It's
that
a
was us.
it's a big
Yeah.
superstition.
It's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
It is.
I mean,
Yep.
it was an old traditional thing for us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So
Exactly.
it was fun. We made light of it.
Yeah. Do you eat bass? What's your favorite?
We had a
We'll take
discussion
it one by one. Danny,
Yeah.
start. You eat bass?
If I'm going to eat a bass, it's going to be a calico. Amongst those, because Cabria is a grouper. I would eat that first. So, and you put that in my head after looking at those pictures. But yeah, calico.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm with Calico. I don't like killing any bass. It's just the largemouth fisherman in me. But once in a while, if there's a legal fish on board, and they make the best fish tacos, I'm not gonna lie. It's probably my favorite fish taco. If we're getting smaller legal fish, just barely legal fish or something like that, yeah, I don't want to take any of the giant ones. I don't like taking the 4s and 5s or those big fish, but yeah, I'll definitely take a few for the tacos. Definitely worth a few.
I'm gonna say spotted baby bass. I'm gonna say calico bass.
Calico.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, calico bass are delicious.
Yeah. Well, Black sea bass are delicious too.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you something, and we really ought to think about this as a fishing community. When you have a moratorium on those things, and you get these 200 to 300 pounders swimming around free, and there's a huge population of them now. When you're trying to protect sheephead and all these other things, calicos and everything else, what good does that do? Because you know what that black sea bass at that size consumes? It's ridiculous.
Anything
So
that fits.
I would say, I would sell tags like you do an elk tag or a deer tag, or draw it in a lottery. But it does need to be maintained. And I think Fish and Game doesn't quite understand that either. I don't think they've done the studies. But when you have that many mature ones that are alive, if you look at what they're eating and what they're consuming on calico bass and other things that we're trying to protect too, might start thinking about that.
Absolutely. All right, Rick Slater wants to know, can he buy a Friedman Adventures hat at the Hall Show? Yeah, we'll have
There you
some.
go.
And you can
Perfect.
also go to, and we need you guys to keep this going, patreon.com/Friedman Adventures. There's swag there. We've just redone the whole Patreon thing. There's different levels. We're going to get you a morning briefing coffee cup, Friedman Adventures hats. There's all kinds of stuff. We got to get some Danny Kadota stuff on there.
There you
This
go.
is an evolution, isn't it? We're
Perfect.
starting to move fast.
Yeah.
here,
Yep,
so.
that's good.
And so definitely, I will make that happen, Rick. I'll let you know. Probably have them over there at Island Fishing Tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, I haven't talked to you about this yet, but you're gonna have
You know
Friedman
now.
Adventures hats at your
Yeah,
booth.
you know now.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, you know now.
Just kidding. All right, let's see. Do guys fish braid on trout setup?
100%. All my trout setups have Veravasavani. So that's the highest. Probably it's a high-end braid. It's like 80 to 100 a spool, but it's so thin, so sensitive, and so easily manageable. Oh,
And
it's
they
like,
cast beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It does cast beautiful.
yeah, if I get the right spoon, I could probably get 50, 60 yards on it.
Yeah, same with me surf fishing. I cast way better with the braid.
yeah.
And then the feel's unparalleled. You can't really find anything that feels like it. I mean, you get that direct bite, you know you're bit.
Yeah.
It's not that
absolutely.
mushy feel of mono.
And you get up in the Sierras in the early morning, back in the old days with mono, and the mono gets wet, and if it freezes up,
Yeah.
it's very
stiff.
difficult.
It's,
to stiff.
yeah.
So, you know, it's
The braid
another-
doesn't freeze up. The
another
guides
thing.
will, but your
It
braid
just-
won't.
And it casts so nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
the other.
too
And the
nice.
sensitivity is better.
Yeah.
You know, you get
Can't
a
be
greater
braid for it.
sensitivity.
Mike Trunk says black sea bass. Is that a bass? And then Isaac says white sea bass, which is not a bass. It's a member
Right,
of the
that's a
croaker
croaker
Yeah,
family.
they're just a
Yeah.
giant
What is
croaker.
it? Black? Is it black sea bass?
Black sea bass.
I'm guessing it's not.
Like a grouper, isn't it?
It's closer to in the grouper family.
Yeah,
you
right?
know, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, great
Well,
eating fish.
it does taste like it is in that class as far as
Yeah,
consumption.
the white, flaky.
Excellent eating, yes.
My God, I was in a Tijuana fish market and they had Mero, M-E-R-O, for sale, black sea bass, and it was like it looked so good and so fresh.
It is
it
good.
is
I
good.
bought it.
Yeah.
It was like $3 a pound.
Holy smokes.
Oh my God!
At that
it's good.
point,
That's good
yeah, that's
stuff.
good
I know,
stuff.
right?
Yeah,
That's
that's
good
good
stuff.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, Andrew Deal was with me on that trip. He filled his ice chest for less than $100 full of yellowtail and white sea bass.
That's the way to
Oh,
do it.
Great stuff.
That stuff
Good
goes
stuff.
15, 20 bucks a pound here.
Yeah.
Easy, if not more.
Yeah, exactly.
Good
Exactly.
stuff.
William Padilla, yes, sir. I buy this banana and coca nib fruit leather helps. Oh, with the cramps when I'm out fishing all day, and they are small and light.
Okay, so I'm guessing it's like almost like an energy bar or
there
something.
you go.
Yeah,
There
that
you
doesn't
go.
sound too bad. I think that's
Hey,
okay.
What
No.
works,
Hey, if it
whatever
takes away
works
your
for you.
cramps, I'll
that-
Banana though.
but if it works,
Maybe it's artificial banana flavoring. What
long
if
as you're
if it's
getting bit,
flavoring or something?
for
Does that
it.
count?
Boys, this is, you know what we got to do? We got to rig a frickin' banana peel and get bit on it.
Just to prove the point.
Yeah,
Let's prove a point.
or not get bit on it and see. Yeah, I got to do that.
Yeah, we gotta
Throw
do
that on the slide. have
It
float
have it
down
floating
there,
down. I
gang.
bet you those Dorado would have eaten it last year. They didn't
Oh,
care
hell
what
yeah.
was in front of them.
We had them boiling on coffee cake.
Oh my god.
We did.
They would have had them.
On the
Yeah, they would have
Amigo.
eaten anything.
there's so many
Ridiculous
practical jokes over the years with bananas playing on our boats. It was crazy. Guys would wake up and they'd be stuffed in their tackle boxes. Unbelievable. We had fun. We had fun with
Mark's
it.
right, man. Look, he's saying, would a smaller banana work as a yo-yo jig? Tatty Banana 45.
There you go.
We'll talk to Joey. We'll have to give Joey a
Make
call.
a banana color or something, or banana
Yeah.
something, huh? Yeah.
Joey, we're going to do this, man. No doubt about it. You know, I went on a lobster trip the other night. To be
Yeah,
perfectly
I saw that.
honest
I saw
with
that,
you,
yeah.
I was like, okay, you know, I mean, whatever. You're going to be out on the water, bunch of good friends. I had a freaking ball. It was
Yeah,
really.
it looked like an awesome trip.
And I think it was, the people that were there,
Yeah.
the crew.
Yeah.
Donna over there, Dana Ware Sport Fishing.
Uh-huh.
It's one thing about her cruise, like, you're like, are these guys fishing crews? Because they're like, oh, how's your evening going this evening? They're so polite.
Wow.
And so I saw a kid, I don't know if Donna wants me to say this or not, but I'll tell you. I was talking to her in the office about 6 months ago, and a kid comes in, looks like he's dressed like, not good. Like I used to dress when I decked on a boat.
Yeah.
And he comes in and she goes, can I help you? And he goes, yeah, I'm supposed to be the new deckhand on the blah, blah, blah. And she goes, hey, come here. You're not dressing like that. So here's a brand new t-shirt for you. In the future, please come, blah, 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 blah. I like that.
Wow.
What do you
That's
think?
good.
They
Well,
actually-
no, I had my crew. We had crew shirts that we wore. Yeah. Yeah, we were
Still gotta keep it
synchronization
clean,
on
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
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 Wasabi
I did.
69 is breaking my heart. He says it's been done.
Oh.
Catching something on.
Wahoo on the banana peel, he said.
Did he?
Yeah, that's what he said right there. I think he says Wahoo on a banana peel.
I'm gonna break into tears.
Well, we got to do something else though. One Wahoo's, we can do it on film.
Yeah, exactly.
Doable. It's
Jordan.
doable. We got to do it.
You think that I had you down here to be on the show? It was actually to pitch a banana lure.
Okay,
to
got it.
Daiwa.
Let's do
There
it.
you go.
No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
let's do
You
it.
know, you get the shape of banana to make a nice skip jig, right?
Oh, it's got
Yeah.
it.
Just look at it, right? Easy.
I'm in, man.
Put
Let's
a
do
double
it.
hook on the tail section, on the back.
There you go.
Skitter it.
Yep, skitter it on top.
Just kidding.
What
Oh,
what about tide, Jordan? When we're talking about fishing for spotted bay bass? tonight?
Okay, yeah. So
Tide important?
side,
'Cause we
I
were
think
out
it's
there.
hugely important.
Let's be honest.
Yeah,
We were
I was out there.
already.
We were out there for. I was out there for 30, 45 minutes. I couldn't get. I got one little bite, and it was slack. They are really, really, really important. It's with moving all the bait in the water. They're more ambush. If you look at them on the bottom, they'll just sit there on the bottom, almost like a sculpin. They'll just sit there and they'll wait. If you look at the Fred Hall or the Bart Hall show, when you see them, they'll just sit there and wait. They wait for stuff to kind of drift by them, and once they comes in their sight, they just take off like a bat out of hell and they'll crush a bait. So it's really important that stuff's moving around for them. If it's not moving, you got to get it right on top of their head, and you got to basically hit them in the head with it to anger them and get them to bite. But I think it's huge if you have some current moving. If you don't have current moving, basically kiss your bite goodbye. I mean, you can find them. You got to be really, really good at finding them. You have to have your little spots, and that takes a long time to develop. So.
Jordan, Danny, great show so far. You guys are killing
Awesome.
it as usual. Hit that like button, everybody, please. If you have a question, you can ask it now. Because believe it or not, we are an hour into a show that feels like we've been
Holy
talking
smokes.
for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you never know if Janelle and Tony are going to be patient with us tonight.
I hope
They
so.
want to go home and get some sleep.
Yeah, they need their sleep.
So if you have questions, keep them coming, everybody. William, back to the bananas one more time. Now, bro, they are made. He's talking about the energy bars with 2 ingredients: cocoa nibs and 1 whole banana. I carry 3 of these rather than carry 3 bulky bananas.
Doesn't sound
Makes
bad.
sense. Frank Melendez, did Danny captain the Mustang? And the answer is yes. With
Yes.
Bashi.
Bashi was
Bashi,
a partner.
is
He
he
was a
still
partner.
around?
No, he passed away a few years ago. You know, and he was also Bashi was also partners with my dad at H&M. You know, at one time. Yeah.
Maybe you could just recollect something about Bashi, because sounds like he's important.
Bashi
to Frank.
he was just a neat guy, so mellow. You know, he was like a big teddy bear, but he was just a great guy to have on a boat. He started out chartering the Mustang many years ago. On his charter, he had guys like Jimmy Lou, Steve Yatomi. He had a lot. There's a lot of great fishermen that came off that. And a lot of those guys segued and they had their own charters. But just super guy, a great partner to have. Yeah.
All right, Yellowtail 69, Wasabi 37 Ono out of Hilo, 2015, best trip ever. Chum was the kitchen trash.
You know it's a wide open bite if you're just throwing whatever off the boat. Throwing literal kitchen sink at them right there, and you're still getting them to go.
So my buddy, Matt Schlurf, who was a Torrance cop, great guy, great friend of mine, he's on the Polaris Supreme, I think it was, and they were catching wahoo, and the galley cook sticks his head out the window and goes, "Hey, Matt, come up here. And he's like, he wanted to get a jig out of whatever he's bait. And he goes, "Dude, drop your line right here." And he goes, "Why?" And he goes, "I've been throwing carrot pieces out there, and they're eating the carrot pieces right there. Watch." And these friggin' wahoo are eating carrots.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Yeah, so he
Oh,
drops down
geez.
and he's instantly bit. So how weird is that?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got one that's it may gross you out a little bit on that, but oftentimes, I mean, for the most part, we had great fishermen on the Mustang. We had great groups, excellent fishermen. But every now and then, you had all rent rod charters, people that that didn't fish. They had all rent rods, so you want to catch them something. So you're at Catalina, and we're at Catalina one day, flat, calm, crystal blue water, sunny, just beautiful. And these guys want to catch calicos, but they don't know how to fish. So the thing is, you get a little piece of squid about that big, a number 4 hook, a sinker, and you
Let them drop it over the side.
try to get
Yep.
them to load up a sack of blue perch. At least that way they'll have some fillets.
Yep.
Right? So other guys are kind of reluctant, but once they start doing it, and these are nice blue perch. They're like this, probably 1.5 pounds, 2. They're good, nice slab blue perch. So now these, on the bait tank, on the hooks, these gunny sacks are starting to bulge, and they're filling up, the sacks with the blue perch. So my crew's thinking, oh, we're going to be filleting a lot of blue perch for these guys, right? And so now, mind you, like I say, crystal clear Catalina blue water. All of a sudden, somebody goes into the head, and all of a sudden we see toilet paper floating down, minced with a foreign matter that was brownish in color, and these perch go to town on those, on the toilet paper and everything. And the people are looking down at these perch that they're catching and putting it in their sacks, and they're looking at it. Next thing we know, we're watching them. They go over the bait tank. They unhook that gunny sack full of blue perch, and they turn it upside down. They're dumping
shaking
them
them
out.
out.
So we go, Okay, I guess you guys are going to be filleting a lot of fish. We ended up giving it to the fish market.
Crapper snappers.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, true story.
I've seen it a million times. It's
Oh,
funny.
jeez.
All right. Any thoughts? Isaac wants to know on working your way into the fishing industry. Sounds like he wants to get in the fishing industry.
Gotcha. Yeah, working your way in the fishing industry for me was just I got really lucky to know the right people, thankfully, and then I've always fished Iowa products. I've always fished a lot of their products, so had some openings, and I got really lucky and fortunate to get into their customer service position, and then now I'm running a lot of their orders for some of the higher up clients, some of the guys who are guides, and some of the major guys. So it's just it was really just right price, right time, just being fortunate. I can't complain one bit. I've been very fortunate in my life to be surrounded by really, really cool people. Have a good family behind me. My mom and my dad have always been there for me, and they support me 100%. And they go out of college, man, jumping into a fishing company. It's a little odd, all the other buddies were going to accounting, and it's pretty much what I went for, And I said, I'm gonna go out on a whim here, and I got to do what I love, and I can't complain. They've been supporting me all my life. My mom, and my dad are. You have somebody who supports you into the fishing industry, and then just go out there and put yourself out there. It's really important, guys.
Yep.
It's really
I know somebody that did that.
Yeah, me too.
Exactly.
I dropped out of law school, so
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Given the way everything is going now, one of your grandsons or grandkids comes up to you and says, Grandpa, I want to be a fishing boat captain. That's what I'm going to do. What's your advice?
You know what? If he loves doing it, I would endorse it 100%. If he loves fishing and it entails a lot of other disciplines and things that you have. You got a lot of responsibility with all the people on the boat. I was strict with the crew, as far as etiquette and language and everything. I mean, the demeanor, everything was good. And we were blessed to be around a lot of great people. We had great passengers. We had a great charter. And it was a charter boat. It was an open party. So we knew the groups. We got to bond with them. And over the years, we had these groups for years and years. And so it's a blessing. There's still, and these guys, they mentioned them on the screen right there. Yeah. They were all friends, and just a host of great people we got to fish with,
All right, Steve Yatomi says Amazon Pacus love apple bananas. All right, we can't get off this.
We got to
banana
get down there.
thing.
We have to get down. Yep.
Frank Melendez is going back to, I think it's Bashi was his name.
Uh-huh.
So sorry to hear this. My dad worked at the LA Department of Water and Power with him, and I got to fish with you guys.
Well, that had to have been with Bashi's group. Yeah, it was a great group. Yeah.
Yellowtail 69 awesome. Wasabi. Captain Danny, you know Chris Sato?
Yes.
Who
yes,
is?
I do. Chris, I think Chris is the deaf guy, right? You have to confirm that with me, but I knew him. He's very hardcore,
Fisherman?
hardcore fisherman. But he used to sauce it a little bit sometimes, a little too much. Yeah, have a few. But
what was his
great
poison?
Guy.
Do you remember?
I don't remember, but we'd have to shut him off if it's the same guy I'm thinking about. Nice guy though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you got a little carried away once
Yeah,
in a while. Okay, I know a guy like that too, right here. Isaac's laughing about toilet paper fish.
Oh yeah.
Frank Melendez says, good to see you again, Danny. Crazy albacore trip with Danny when he opened the bait tank and flushed all the bait into a wide open by Danny with free albacore in the corner. What a blast.
We've had some unbelievable days. Yeah, where we were more than done and pulled the chute on that, on the 100 scoops or whatever. The only thing is if I had cured bait on the front tanks, I wouldn't shoot that.
No,
I kept all the cured stuff.
And when you say pull the chute, you're emptying your bait tanks,
Yeah.
and then the show is just
Oh yeah, you get to see an
incredible.
unbelievable show. Yeah. Yeah.
Good deal. Let's see. I took my daughter. This is Tony Russo. Tony, good to see you, my friend. I took my daughter on a twilight trip, and the fishing was slow. She thought it'd be funny to bait up with some sour straws candy. She caught 3 sculpin on that. Tony, I'd say right on for your daughter.
There you go.
Yep.
She must have been watching a bass fishing show, using a worm.
Yep.
That
Gummy
is
worms.
funny,
That's
man.
really cool.
Yellowtail 69 Wasabi, yes, design caster.
I think he's talking about Chris Sato.
Oh, is he?
I think so. I think that's what he's referring to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Danielle Sansisi, is it? I think that's it. What's going on about the 2-day on the Apollo, Phil? So Daniel, the 2-day trip is leaving. I believe it's late. I'm not positive. It's late May. I know that now. I think it goes to June the 1st, June the 2nd. But if you can get this number, send me a text. I'll send you the whole schedule. So the number is 657-227-6459. If you didn't get that, I'll type it in right now. Okay? So send me a text and I'll send you our charter list. Isaac, hook size, do you recommend going biggest as long as you are getting bait? Do you get that
Maybe
one?
getting bit.
Bait?
Hook size, do you recommend going big as long as you're getting bit?
For what fish? And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
gonna
Isaac, what are you
depend.
talking
Is he
about?
talking about it in general?
Isaac.
Oh, getting a bite. What do you mean?
So
I go
Well, you know, you have
big
to,
as you can get away
ahead.
with, I guess.
Yeah, you know, and it depends on the fish. You know,
Yeah.
I think we talked about this, like particularly like with bluefin. You know, bluefin can get to the point where we did some research on these things many years ago, and we actually weighed out hooks. Like we would take these light gamakatsus with the rings, and a number 2 with the ring weighed 350 milligrams. That is nothing. It's light. It's easy on a fly line chovy, and you'll get bit on that better than anything, right? But it's limited to so many, fish of a certain size. Because that was one of the first hooks I had in that scratch bite we had on the Freedom, and I ended up straightening one of those hooks out, and I went to a heavier hook and straightened out a gorilla.
Really? Wow.
So yeah, but they weren't normal size bluefin that we were targeting for 20-pound line and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was that. But sizing those things up, and it depends on the fish that you're fishing too. You have to match that accordingly too. But I would say as the hook size goes up, you need to put the diameter as the size of the fish goes up. You have to put the diameter up on it too.
Definitely.
is there an advantage to using a bigger hook if you can get away with it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a bigger hook to
Better
bait
hookup ratio?
is always better hookup ratio. It's always better.
So
yeah.
just generally speaking, should you use as big a hook as you think is possible that you can get a bite on, as long as you don't think it will deter the bite? Do you think
Yeah, if you don't think it's going to deter the bait, I think it's okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like when we were talking about it a little while ago. You pull the chutes on that, and those things are going crazy. Yeah, you can get away with it.
You can get away with a 10-ounce
Yeah.
hook on
Right.
an anchovy, but yeah, if it's a scratchy bite, you got to go small, got to go light line.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as just line sizing. I think the same thing.
Yeah.
Get it whatever you can get away with, really. So.
Jordan, are we going to see anything new from Daiwa at the shows? Can you give us a preview? Is there anything cool coming?
We'll see some stuff soon. I can't give anything out yet, unfortunately, but we'll definitely see some stuff. Look at ICAST, look at Bassmaster Classic. We always have something new in the works, so you guys can always take a look. It should be a really interesting year. I'll give you guys that.
All right, great. And are you going to be at the PCS show, right?
Yes, Daiwa's going to be at the PCS show. I'm not sure if I'm going to be there specifically, but I know Daiwa will be at the PCS show. They'll be at Bart Hall. We'll be at ICAST, of course. So, yeah, we're going to be at those shows definitely. But PCS is going to be a big, one of our biggest West Coast shows. So we'll definitely be out here.
Danny, we're going to drag Jordan
Oh,
along
actually,
with us,
we'll be
aren't
there.
we?
I'd love to go. Hey, I'll always be happy to
Absolutely.
go.
We'll kidnap him if he doesn't want to go.
Absolutely.
Then take him straight down to Mexico for those.
For those
Cabrera.
Cabrera, that would be
Jeez.
nice. I want to do that.
Let's
so
go
much.
now.
I'm ready.
I'd be ready. Let's go.
Man, we could be down there in a few hours.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't tempt me.
Oh man.
Captain Danny, if I remember right, Captain Steve Tanaka used to pull the chute on the bait tank to get the bluefin tuna to react.
Well, that's why we had big bait tanks, and then Steve went over once he that's Taka's middle son, and Steve ran the Fortune, and then the new Hustler over here. I mean, Steve's been around for quite a while. He was around for a long, long time. But yeah, that would definitely get him to go. When you get them in a scratchy mode, and sometimes it takes that little bit of extra to get them into a bite mode.
Yeah, that is. But pulling
crazy.
chutes, sometimes you're. Now, I've also seen where a guy screws with you and you go run a circle. Have you ever seen that stuff? you run a circle around, pull your chutes, and kind of screw his bite up. Not that I was ever a party to that, but I've seen that done
It has.
before.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. No, fortunately, we haven't had to do that.
Did you ever hear about it or see it?
I knew people did. Yeah, if they had vendettas against each other or whatever, they would, typical, long days down in San Diego. I mean, we didn't take any days off. We ran 100-something days straight with no days off. So, there's a few times you get a little bit of
sure.
owly, a little bit, you get on edge a little bit. That could happen. Yeah.
All right, we'll start with you predicting this time because we started with Danny last time.
Yeah.
Something.
Okay.
Predictions on Dorado. William Padilla wants to know. What's your prediction on Dorado?
As long as the current stays good and the weather stays warm again, they should come back. I think they will. They went all the way up north. What, they were getting them in Oregon or something like that? They said there people were getting them out there while fishing for albacore and everything. I mean, I think they'll come back. I think they'll make a bounce back this year. I don't know if it's going to be as good as it was. We saw some pretty amazing, crazy wide open fishing, but I think we'll get some steady picking on as long as the current stays good.
Danny, what do you think? Was that a one-off?
Well, yeah, that was the best I've ever seen. And I blessed to have been on one of those trips where it was crazy like that. But yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say. I hope so.
Yeah,
definitely a
hope so.
people pleaser. Where gave us something to do during the day, and then if you're fishing a multi-day trip, you fish the bluefin at night, and so it kept everybody busy. So it was nice. Yeah, it's some nice fillets.
Yeah,
definitely. All right, me too. I hope that they come back. William, I'm kind of like, since my predictions are so bad, I want to say you won't see a Dorado for 10,000 miles, and then it'll be wide open.
Hopefully, right?
But
Hopefully, stay wide open.
Yes, I'm going to go along with Jordan. This is the new normal. We have an El Nino brewing later in the year. That's going to flush more warm water up here. It'll slide us into an incredible 24. But 23, we're going to see flatheads everywhere. It should be really exciting. So let's hope that's what happens. Rick Slater, I will jump in the ocean if the Eagles win. Will you if the Eagles don't?
They're not my main team. They're not my main. I don't know. They're not my main team. I don't want to.
Temp?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going. Remember, I told you I'm
Yeah,
backed off.
Yeah, you're backed off.
This is me and you.
This is me and you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Me
mean,
too.
I don't think I'm gonna jump in the ocean for it, man. They're not my main team. I just think they're gonna be the better team off this year, but not my main team. But
Hey, Rick, I'll do it with SC Notre Dame in October. How's that?
yeah, see.
Okay, that's my thing. Notre Dame.
You
So-
put me on the Dodgers then.
And
All
if
right,
you're-
sorry, I'm a Dodger fan. You put me on the Dodgers, then we'll see. Okay, I'll put that in.
All right, Rick. I hope you're an SC fan. Then we got something going here. And,
Yeah.
and SC, come on, they're so good now. This is a lock bet for you. Going back to South Bend, they're gonna stomp all over the Irish. So I'll take that bet though. Newt Rockney, the Gipper, all those spirits that come up at Notre Dame Stadium. I'm starting to sound like too much of a Notre Dame nut now. All right, let's get back to this. Isaac says, any bigger bait caster from Daiwa, like a 500 size?
No, biggest one we make right now is the 400 TW, but it has 28 pounds of drag. So, I mean, right now we don't have any plans on making a giant reel. But that 400's, it's got some power. I was using it on the Dorado last year, and I had, well, we were always using the small stuff. So, the captain was giving us a little bit of a hard time. Hey, you're using those bass reels out here. We got to land these fish. Well, we wanted to have some fun, so my buddy's throwing a 300. One of my buddies is even throwing a small spinning reel, man. And I go, okay, you want these things in fast? So I put 25 pound on. I locked my drag down. And the first one I hooked, I got in the boat in I think about 13 or 14 seconds. They counted, and they got the gaff into it. So he didn't say nothing about our bass reels after that. Trust me, I put the pedal to those fish.
That 400 is amazing. I got,
got power.
the picture you have of that big airplane that we had down in Guyana. That was caught on a Daiwa 400.
How big was that fish?
They figure probably 250 to 280.
Amazing.
Yeah, those
Well,
Lexa
because
400s,
you
powerful,
look at
man.
we were sitting shoulder to shoulder. You look at my shoulders. You look at the two guys. There's a gap in between us, and it was still extended on both sides. And I couldn't even get my hands underneath.
Too big. They're huge.
The one thing that you want to do is you stay in the middle. You don't want to get on the head side or the tail side. They'll tell you when you take the picture, stay in the
No,
middle.
you don't want to get slapped.
You'll
Yeah.
or the head's like
Yeah.
it's like steel. So
Yeah, I'm glad that Lexa 400
Yeah.
did that.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a
that
really good
400
feat.
was
But yeah, those
awesome.
reels they're
Yeah.
pretty iron solid, man. They're
Absolutely.
pretty crazy little reels for the power.
Yeah.
I'm a bass
Well,
fisherman.
even
so-
the 300, I caught a little smaller one, air pine.
Yeah, I'm a bass fisherman. I like the whole level wine. I know a lot of guys don't,
Yep.
but I'm Going into saltwater, I'm like, okay, man, I gotta wrap my hands around something a little smaller, fish for calicos and stuff. It did the job for me.
Hey, hit that like button, everybody. If you have a question, you better ask it now because Jordan and Danny and I got some fishing to do
Soon,
tonight.
yeah. Let's
We're
do some
gonna
fishing.
See if we can't catch a spotted bay bass.
Yep.
I should fish too tonight.
Why
I gotta
not?
Film.
Why not? Yeah, we can film and fish. We'll do both. We got it.
There you
All
go.
right, I would like to do that. We'll
Yeah.
see what. Do you have an extra rod?
I do. I have a bait caster right there.
Oh man,
Sure.
there we go.
There you go.
Do you have a rod?
You sit.
You two guys.
I use a lift ball. Just get a string and tie
There
it
you
on
go.
the
Yeah.
9-footer.
I got a
and
lot of
we'll
fluorocarbon. Just tie it to the tip.
There you
Yeah,
go.
we're
Pull
good.
'em, baby.
That's it.
Yeah, right on. All right, let's see. AKI, that's Isaac. He says he had Hurts on his fantasy team. He did good for me. I think that's the quarterback for the Eagles. Like I say, I'm not up on. I watch college football, so I'm not up on the pro. But I think that's what that is. Isaac, I fished the 400. Thought on rod size, please. Fish a heavier rod to reel.
I like to match my gear. I'm a gear nut when it comes down to it. I have so many rods, and I'm the guy on the boat who has 10 setups. I like to match my rods to my line, to my, if I'm throwing 15, I want a 15-pound rod. I don't want a 10 to 20 to 5-pound rod, I want a 15-pound rod.
Why?
Because I like my stuff dialed in. It's just who I am. I like my stuff dialed to the point where I know if I hook a fish, I'm not freaking out going, oh God, I'm at the end of my line class, which if it's a 15-pound, max rod and you're throwing 15-pound, you're gonna be way overgunned. You're not gonna have the power on that rod. Your reel's gonna be doing too much work. I like to have a rod that is set for exactly what I'm doing, just personally. Fishing a heavier rod to reel, you could do it. I know guys who do. They want different rods and different reels. I want to mix and match. No, I'm the type of person. I know it sounds bad. If I buy a reel, it's going on one rod, and this is the line that's going on it. And if I need, what if you need this reel on that? No, I'm going to buy another one. I know it's bad, but I like to set my stuff accordingly. It's just who I am.
That's exactly what I do too.
But
There's
it
a
obviously
specific use for
gives you an
each line
advantage, you
class.
guys
It does.
feel like,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, because I feel like if I have my
They
15-pound or
outperform.
20-pound set up on a boat and I'm fishing it, I'm confident in it. I know that what's on, I know its capabilities. I don't have to sit there and, oh God, what did this rod do for me last time? Well, this rod worked for 40. I don't need to think about that. I know that this rod that I have in my hands is built for what I want. It's for what I'm throwing. If I need to upscale my line, I'm probably picking up another rod. That's just who I am. I'm picking up another rod.
And when you get older, when you get about 30-pound on up, you have a button on it too.
Oh, you
That's
got
what-
the 2-speed does help.
That's what saved me on the Freedom trip.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 2-speed.
I had a button on the
Yep.
on the 30.
Put it in low or put it in high, and you got it. Yeah.
That was it.
Especially when they do those spins under the boat, I've noticed.
yeah.
Oh, that low gear helps a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's the only way you can keep that constant pressure on it.
Yeah.
And
Danny, Jordan just mentioned confidence. How important is confidence in this game?
well, that's why you buy the best tackle you can afford. Because chances are good. I mean, there's enough chance for us as humans to make mistakes. But when your gear is, when you got confidence in your gear, and I've always been confident in my gear, and that's why we fish the best, and that's why I want to build the best,
Only fish the best.
When we come up with different philosophies, and we'll be talking about that next week too, when I have Brad coming up about
Who's
the
on the
handle
show
system.
next week?
Brad Kono, he's the one that's building the graphite handles for us, and it's really odd to me looking at rod building and looking how this process, can literally shut off the rod, because it's never been done before. Usually, to get the taper on a rod, it's going to depend on the amount of material into the blank, and the design of that, from the mandrel. This, you could take the same rod by extending it out 3 inches. It'll extend it from a 30-pound rod to a 40-pound rod, and you can't do that with anything else. But it's because the tube is structured. It's very rigid. It's not going to bend. It's not going to flex. It will shut that rod off that much more to give you that extra pressure. That's never been implemented before. So I like anything else, like when we brought in scanning sonars, when we brought in anything that we innovated, I want to be on that leading edge. And a lot of guys haven't been sold. They haven't bought into that yet. They'll figure it out. But I mean, it was like graphites. We first brought in the first G. Lewis graphites, You can't give it to everybody, because a guy that doesn't know how to fish, or a guy that high sticks, doesn't realize that when he high sticks, he's got 1/10 the pressure than he does down there. Why in the world would you be fishing up there when you got 1/10 the pressure?
Exactly.
Is
At
when
that
you have
point,
it
just get
down
a glass
at 30
rod.
degrees.
Get a glass
Well,
rod.
yeah,
You're going to high stick
that's
like
what
that.
I'm saying. So if you don't understand that, please buy a glass rod. Don't use my graphites because these are for performance.
Yeah.
So it's like giving a student driver a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know how to use it, you're not going to be
not
able
gonna
to
help
use it
you.
to its
Yeah.
yeah. Or you're going to break it
And
and drive
you'll wreck
into
it,
yeah,
yeah.
you're going to wreck it. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not doing it to be arrogant. I'm just telling you that's
Yeah.
the fact. You have to have those understandings and the techniques
Graphite,
and the
yeah.
methodology.
Graphite
to go
does
along
have
with
it has its strengths. It's
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to snap like a twig.
yeah.
You high stick that thing. It's like
you
and
know.
even bass rods, any rod really for that matter, for their graphite, they're
Right.
going to snap like a twig if
We
you high
wouldn't be
stick them.
building jets and satellites and this and that out of graphite if it wasn't. If it didn't have
100%
that.
set. Yep.
Right.
All right, Tim Marquez says, great show, guys. I want to buy my first rod and reel, surf rod and reel. What do you recommend? I am sold, Jordan, on the Daiwa Fuego. That's what I fish with.
Fuego's
There you go.
it's a
awesome,
good
but
reel.
Go ahead, I'll defer
Yep.
to you.
I'd say Fuego's a good one. If you're going to get your first one rod and reel, Fuego 2500 or 3000 if you're fishing the SoCal scene. And we make a 9-foot medium light Saltus inshore rod that's built in mind. We actually had our R&D guys who love to surf fish out here built it in mind for that with the tapers. So, and then I don't know,
Yeah,
if,
perfect.
hopefully we can build some with Semper. We can
Well,
build
no,
some.
we in fact Fish
Yeah.
came through with his baits and I told them the 9-footer that I took down the Bay of LA to fish the Cabrillo with. I says if you fish at full length or shut the foregrip off so it bends, flexes a little bit more, and he's going to put a spinning rod on it, so that'd be perfect.
That'll
for
be
it.
perfect for the surf
So
too.
you could, yeah, that gives you the opportunity to fish it in that capacity too.
Yeah.
You know.
The Daiwa Fuego 2500 or 3000. Man, I was surprised at the affordability, number
Yep.
one, and then combined with that technology.
Yeah, you get the mag seal. Yeah, you get that
Can you
magnetic
explain
oil.
what that is?
Yeah, so mag seal is a magnetic oil that goes onto the bearings. So what it does is it actually has a magnetic barrier, like a barrier. So it helps. That oil helps a lot to like not get any debris or salt into it. It's not 100% like waterproof. Don't be dunking the reel now. No such thing as that one, but it helps a lot to take salt and sand out of your reel. It keeps the bearings so much smoother. I mean, this oil. I mean, we had it in little vials that worked to show. I mean, we can have a barrier of like salt and dirt, and this stuff just holds it back. It holds it back and keeps that bearing spinning longer and better. Just the overall for the $99 price point, I mean, it's hard to beat. For a surf reel, get a 2500 or 3000. A lot of my friends who are big time surf fishermen swear by it, and it's a great little reel. It's a great little workhorse.
Danielle says he sent his number to me. Call me when I can. I'll do that. I'll send you that list. Probably be a little while, maybe even tomorrow. These two guys are going to keep me up late tonight. It's past my bedtime already. All right, and let's see. To land bigger fish on these smaller reels because they put out more drag.
They do, yeah. At my 400, I'm confident in that little thing. I have 5 or 6 of them now. I put some money into them, but I mean, they're powerful little reels. And the new ones, they're so small in hand. I'm not huge hands, man. The old 3 and 400s, they didn't agree with my hands. They're too big. But these little ones, I mean, they're tiny little body, and people look at you like you're crazy on the boats taking these, but they work. They look like literal bass reels. I get it, but they'll do the job. They have 20-something pounds of drag. I know they will catch big fish.
All right, perfect.
Awesome.
Is Daiwa going to put a strike stop on the smaller Saltiga reels? Love them, but I get too excited and push it all the way to the
Yeah,
floor.
happens to me on my 15s all the time too. I don't know if they're going to implement that in the future reels or not. We're not really. We haven't discussed that yet, but I'm hoping that they do it, especially on their their smaller reels. Like I do a lot of the slow pitch jigging. You know, you can if you push it back into full and set the hook, you're that deep, especially with no stretch. You can pop off a jig or two. So yeah, I don't want to pop off a nice $15 beautiful jig when I'm down 300 feet at San Nick. You know, so.
All right, Brett Ender says, Phil, my dad, David. Brett, how are you? Give my best to your dad. His dad, David, wants to hit Surfside to fish surffish after watching your shorts about the sandworms. Hey, I'll tell you what. Shoot me a text, and maybe we can do that. And we're going to do some more surf fishing clinics in the coming year, or this year. I'm going to wait till we get to spring, and you have a better chance of catching some fish. But, Brett, it's great to hear from you. Send me a text, and we'll see if we can't make that happen for your dad. And I appreciate you guys being on board that relentless trip, you and your brother and your dad. It was really great to meet you. Tim Marquez says, thank you. Daniel wants to know what the bluefin tuna news is. So I talked to a couple of guys today who tell me that the seiners mopped them up down below, about 140 miles down the Baja coast. So it sounds like they're ready to go again. Here it is.
Well, let's see. That's about what they've been doing for every year now.
I
They're
know.
done by January, or usually, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. So there's
So there is a glut of bluefin, more than people think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, we have the biomass of squid, sardines, and everything to sustain it. There's no reason for them to go back to Japan and out in the Pacific. They could sit there and just slurp on all this food we've got right here. You know?
So, do you want to be the one who breaks the news to Al Gore that the oceans are not dead? He predicted they'd be dead by now.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I'm surprised it's not dead from just the exhaust from his private jet. You know?
private yacht, private jet, and everything he's got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Touche. Nick Ramirez, who's a great guy. I love Nick. It's good to see you here, Nick. Hi, Mr. Phillip and everyone else watching live from Hawthorne, California. Here's a guy that got into fishing, knew very little about it, and now consistently is catching the biggest fish on the boat, the jackpot.
Oh, that's awesome.
You gotta love Nick.
So he's doing his due diligence somewhere.
Yeah,
He's doing
absolutely.
his homework. He's studying. He's picking up everything he can off every little hint that everybody gives him. So that's doing your due diligence, and you've earned that.
Absolutely.
It's not, and you know as well as anybody now. It's not luck.
It's
Fishing is not luck. Consistent fishing has nothing to do with luck.
All right, here's a good question, and I'm not sure I know the answer to this. So Isaac says, have we caught a bluefin tuna in 23 yet?
I don't know.
I haven't heard.
I mean, I thought it was a slam dunk that it would happen.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah, I
thought for
haven't
sure they
heard
got
of
it down
No,
below.
I haven't
yeah.
heard of one. I haven't really been following the
Yeah.
bluefin too deep, but I haven't heard of one.
Let me think about that. No, I don't know. Some private guy might have caught one and kept it quiet, but
Yeah,
most guys nowadays.
Yeah, I
you
can't
know,
hear of any of the
get
party
on-
boats doing it. Any of the big boats doing it.
Yeah, I don't
can't
think any of
one.
those boys have caught one. It could be any day now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it just
they're-
takes
they're there.
some
I'm
warm
sure they're
water,
there.
warm
Yeah.
weather, and they're gonna come right in.
Yeah, I mean, and we have been dealing with weather this year. A lot of wind,
Yep.
rain.
yeah.
Last year was a windy year.
But I don't think those fish are going to swim away from that squid out there.
Yeah, I know. You think
You
they're
know,
going to be on Tanner Cortez?
I think they're going to be all there. They probably got their noses down feeding.
All right. Hey,
Yep.
I like William Padilla because he's always asking for predictions. I like this guy. William, you're keeping us on our toes. All right. What are your predictions for this year in SoCal? Start, Jordan.
Well, we got that El Nino coming from what I hear, so that's brewing, and hopefully we can get some warm water. We're already hitting a little bit of warm temperatures in February now. I mean, what was it, 81 today? So as long as we keep consistent warm water, consistent warm temperatures, that warm water coming up from Mexico, I think we're gonna start seeing some fish come up with it. I'm hopeful. I'm not 100%, not the greatest at predicting, but I'm hopeful.
Danny.
I just take whatever Mother Nature gives us. And I've seen things, and I've mentioned stuff before where, you have biologists making predictions on this and that, and they're 100% wrong the next, for instance, El Nino, they said the oceans are going to die, because we had, and, in '83, the kelp ball died along the coast here, and we had phenomenal big eyes and yellowfin tuna and dorado and a big mix, and it went from that within months to cold water, and we had record albacore years in '84 and '85. So, I don't know. We just take and roll with whether
Roll with the
Mother
punches.
Nature gives us. Yeah,
Hoping for the best.
All right. Isaac says, any help? My older son loves fishing, but my younger son's not as much. How to help get him into fishing so I get to fish more? Hey, if they don't like to fish, they don't like to fish.
exactly.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're born with it or you're not. It's a knack for it. When
Yeah.
I first started, man, the first few trips, I hated the idea of fishing. My dad took me out to Irvine Lake. It's freezing cold. There's ice on the windshield when we wake up to get in line, and I'm sitting there going, what are we doing? I want to play on my Nintendo all day. And then you get your first fish, and that's what changed it for me. Once I got that trout on my line and I realized the stoke for it, I wanted to go back every other time. I mean, it's just, if you catch your first fish and you don't like it, you don't like it. But there's a spark that goes on, for most fishermen that realize that this is it. There's something special.
Yeah, I agree, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, everybody remembers their first fish, and if it's either a really good experience or a bad, or whatever, But,
Yeah. I look at just my family, and I got, there's two other brothers besides myself. And Steve's obviously been in the business and running boats for, I think he's on his 9th term now for his captain's license, running boats. But my brother Dave, when we go up to Sarah's, what his big attribute for me was I could catch his limit.
Oh, there you go.
Because he didn't fish.
He didn't
So
want
that
to
was
fish.
awesome.
Yeah. So you got extra fishing time because of it. That's worth it.
I loved it. Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of fishing, Jordan?
Oh, I'd say probably I'm a largemouth fisherman. I've been fortunate enough. I started off trout fishing, so I've always trout fishing has a special place in my heart. Still one of my favorite fishings. But when I got into bass fishing, I mean, I always saw the guys on TV, Roland Martin and Jimmy Houston and Hank Parker, Bill Dance, and I go, man, I gotta do that. So I would sit there and take notes all day. Yamamoto this and yum that, and whoever had a bait out there. And I'd go to Bass Pro Shops and fill out a cart full, man. My mom she thought I was crazy. And I'd go out there to these park lakes and go out 10 trips, 12 trips, not get a bite. They're hard fish to catch. So I was fortunate enough to meet a lot of good bass fishermen in my time. My buddy Frank taught me a lot, and I started getting into it, realizing you got to finesse fish and everything. You got to get into it, and it just became an addiction. Now I've got 30, 40 bass rods. God, I don't know how many Japanese lures I have, all these lures, and $20, $30 baits, those swim baits that Butch Brown throws, Depths 250s are $150 now, $150. I got like 4 or 5 of those. I'd say bass fishing and trout fishing are my top two. I've been fortunate. I'm getting into saltwater. A lot of my friends are bugging me. Like, you got to get your first bluefin. You got to go out there and get, okay. So I've
That's gonna happen.
Yeah. So I've been adding
happen.
a lot of saltwater gear into my mix, and it's a blast, man. It's ridiculously fun.
Yeah.
Danny, your favorite? One would assume saltwater. I'm guessing it's freshwater bass.
It's saltwater. You know what? I take that back. When we can do it, I like the adventure fishing now. The travel destinations.
There you go. Me too.
That absolutely phenomenal
try
because the learning curve, and I get to go back to square one where I got to do the homework on it, prep for it a little different. You're probably going to have to tweak your tackle a little bit for those destinations, but the learning curve in a new area, I think, is much higher. To go back and God, don't get me wrong, I love my tuna fishing, I love my trout fishing, my bass fishing, I love it all.
Yeah.
But the excitement to me is venturing out into the new areas.
Nobody's touched it. They're untouched, basically.
Yeah. And that's,
You're one of the only humans to ever touch that area. That's crazy.
Absolutely a huge deal. Is that learning curve there?
I gotta try that.
Is greater.
That sounds like a fun thing. I gotta get a peacock bass
absolutely.
and go out there. That sounds like a dream.
It'll mess you up.
Oh, that's fine. Let's do it.
They're
I'm willing to
explosive,
take
right?
it.
Boys, I thought we were going to wrap it up, but man, are the questions coming in. They love you guys.
It's rolling.
Does Danny still fish largemouth bass? If so, what are his favorite lakes these days?
Up until this rain,
Acme.
I saw where you could almost walk across to the island at Casitas, and it disgusted me so bad that we've allowed as a state the water levels to destroy a lot of the fisheries and hurt it really bad. But I look at like Kachuma, and it's getting full. And the recent bass fishing that I have done, we actually fished, friends of ours, this is how we've gone from serious running around at 70 miles an hour in our bass boats. We get a pontoon, we bring a lot of food, we eat, laugh, goof around, throw plugs and just goof around like, on a pontoon boat. And we've had a blast doing that. Yep. So it's more the camaraderie now at that age.
Yep.
Getting up and running around at 30 degrees at 70 miles an hour and freezing your behind off anymore. That's not me anymore. It's changed. And the fisheries changed, we came upon a time back then where there was that first generation cross between the northern bass we had in California and the Florida cross strain that grew those bass to those enormous sizes, So
unfortunately, the lakes that we
generation.
see where Castaic is, it's gone downhill. I haven't seen a fish really kick out of there bigger than 12, 13 pounds.
It's changed. Well, it's probably all straight Florida strain by now.
Yeah, it's probably all.
So it was that first generation cross between the northerns and the Floridas.
All right, William Padilla's talking about how you get the two boys interested, or how you get kids in general. I think he's on the right track here. He brings snacks for his daughter. They play games. Yep. She's old enough to start learning how to tie knots. Make the whole thing fun.
Yep.
Sometimes the fishing's slow and it's not that fun.
Nope. Yep.
So you have to see that in your child and go to plan B.
Yeah, you gotta put the time in, especially for kids.
That and you gotta go the extra yard with your homework. Find out from fishermen that are hardcore fishermen, like I depend on, like Jordan.
No,
you go out to Fin and Feather, and he takes me to one of my. here's a local bucket list lake that I went to that just fulfilled one of my all-time dreams after 60-something years. Fishing that lake that I drove by going up the Sierras all these years. So, some of your wishes can be, granted right there at a local area. But do your homework. There's, got Jordan knows these kids are on top. You got to do your homework as far as finding where the stockings are. And true, it's probably a little cutthroat with a lot of the local lakes.
It is. There's a lot of people. But...
it's a more inexpensive way to get them started. Perhaps bring some friends that know how to trout fish and get them hooked on that.
Or get to know people at the lakes.
Yeah,
There's a lot of nice people at the lakes. A lot of my friends, man, they're more than happy to help. I'll pass the rod. If you see me at the lake, I hook a fish, I'll pass it. Caught more than enough trout in my life that I always pass them on to kids. It's always important to share the stoke. I think that's a huge thing is share the stoke, share the happiness of fishing.
All right, Daniel wants to know when I'm coming down to jump on the Redondo Special. They're doing maintenance now. I'll do that. That's my alma mater, man. I started on that boat when I was 12.
Well, there you go.
And so I will definitely do that. I'll let you know when I'm heading down there. DJ B, with the squid biomass around, does that change tactics? Bait for bluefin tuna. Danny?
I'm sure they're feeding up on them big time. And I mean, if they're on that diet, they're on that diet. But I think they'll go over to a fin bait. But I mean, if there's a huge enough biomass of squid, why would you eat anything else?
Yeah.
That's
candy.
That's candy. Yeah, that's
You're
exactly it. That's candy, and they're gonna fatten it up. I don't think we're gonna have a problem.
We're gonna get some
they're
good.
gonna
Get some good sashimi on, good niggity. Yeah, I'm
gonna...
happy. That's gonna be good. Fatty tuna.
Yeah.
The best.
Brett says, I got my dancing lessons. I had the same results. I think he's talking about not liking something.
I don't know. You like it or you do, but
it was like piano lessons for me. I lasted like a week, and I was, Mom, please. let me
this is
go
not
play
me.
baseball. I hate this crap. So yeah, that wasn't my thing, but yeah, that's pretty funny. All right, let's see, Isaac. Any tips to get my younger son on other boat things he can do so we can go more? Engine room, driving the boat.
if you can drive the boat, that's always fun, I guess. I mean, and as a kid, you want to drive everything. So yeah, I mean, but especially on party boats, it's tough to take kids. I notice, man. If it's either really good or it's really bad, and then the drive out, they get bored. So you gotta some type of games. Snacks help a lot. Even for me now, snacks help a lot. Man, keep you occupied.
I think that the biggest thing is, and it's tough. I mean, because you want people to go out on the water, but when you have kids that haven't experienced the bite, you really have to wait and time it to where you get involved, even if it's mackerel fishing. Because I used to have school trips with LA City Schools right here at 22nd Street in Portugal, and in June they would have a certain amount of the days during the week that we would actually fish. It was it was crazy, but we'd put all the rent runs on for these kids that would never have got a chance to have exposure in fishing, and we took them to the receiver. And why? Because the mackerel are wide open.
Yeah, throw any piece
and
of bait
they
out there.
went nuts. So they really don't know the difference between a mackerel and a calico bass or anything.
No, it's a
They
fish.
have not
Yeah.
got that snobbishness yet. that
it
we
comes
have,
with time,
that we
yeah.
all have. But it gets them excited. They'll love it. They give them the thrill of their life at the time. So getting them active and getting them on a fish like that, even though it's mackerel, would get them more fired up than any other game fish. Because driving around for hours and hours, or and it's if you try to catch a calico, there's certain methodologies that you got to utilize to do that. Where the mackerel's very simple, and he tugs on his lines. Is going to give him a thrill.
All right, hit that like button, everybody. William Padilla, man, I want to hang out with this guy. He brings a snack for his daughter. I thought he'd throw her a bag of potato chips. He said, buy a snack, I take her to the store like Sprouts or Stater Brothers and grab a sushi platter for us. And
That's
some
a
other
little
drinks.
bougie.
Give me your schedule.
Yeah.
Fruits and candy.
Give me your schedule. I'll fish with you.
Yeah, you take some sushi, we'll go out with you.
Yeah, I'm all over it. Isaac wants to know, what's the difference between a glass rod and a graphite rod?
He's the guy to ask.
Or carbon.
Jeez. Well, a glass.
Briefly.
The glass is, glass is what we implemented for many, many years. Glass originally came out of the tank antennas, after World War II. we're implementing there. Before that, I still have my grandpa's cane pole that I have in my shed. But you know, they're tough, they're resilient, they flex really well, they're a little heavier, and if you're getting serious, I mean, they're tough. The trade-off is tough versus the recovery, the recoil. And the graphites, if they're built right, you could have tough and recoil. And if you fish it correctly, in other words, if you're not high sticking, they're much more efficient. I fish all straight graphites. Unless you're an accomplished fisherman and understand the lifting areas and the powers, the lifting powers at the different angles, I would stay with the glass rod. Because if you don't understand that, if you high stick a graphite, you can blow it. You know, it will put our fish on quicker. It'll cast the bait further, but you have to know how to use it. You know, and you have to complement it with the right reels and the right line and the whole deal. You know,
And I think sensitivity is way better on
Sensitivity's
graphite.
better.
Lightness.
For accomplished fishermen, it's a win-win deal.
Yeah.
But if you're starting out, I would definitely say 100% start them out with a glass rod.
Yeah.
On the bluefin, on the squid thoughts, on the Nomad, new squid jig.
Haven't seen their new squid jig yet, but it might work with all these guys deep dropping all these jigs. I mean, if a piece of lead, what they're throwing, 16-ounce lead weights. I mean, I'm pretty sure
You think about that.
they'll work.
Phil, did you see that one I made up?
Yeah.
That had enough hit up? Yeah. That was off one of the original knife jigs that was probably done 25 years ago, 30 years ago. And then I had a plastic squid that looks just like a market squid. And I had one at each side with two big stainless hooks. So, you know, if they get on the chew, I'll fish that. I got 250 rigged on that, all crimped up and ready to go. But yeah. You gotta match the hatch.
Yep.
It's like any other fishing, right?
All right, Brett Ender, we screwed that all up. He wasn't dancing. He was watching the Bill Dance show. He ordered his first quantum rig from Bass Pro in 1988 and got skunked for years. That's what he meant.
Yeah, he gave a lot of good info out, but he fished a lot of private lakes, so it wasn't as easy as us catching him out here. We have some really tough fishery out here.
You're almost staging it when you're fishing in private lakes
Yeah,
like
he would
that. I
hook
don't
them
know
on
if that's
anything.
fair.
He's
Yeah.
throwing out all these rebel baits he had, and he was killing them all day. And you do that out here, and you're gonna get your one or two, but you're gonna skunk a lot. You gotta learn the real finesse techniques out here. It's a tougher bite.
Yeah.
All right, Mario says he caught some bluefin this year on his Daiwa Seaboard 1200 MJ.
Yeah, it's doable.
Easy.
Yeah, it's doable. Definitely doable.
All right, Brett Ender, have you fellas thought about a short boat charter as how-to seminar for us learning knots, rigs, match the hat, etc.? Right now we're thinking about it, Brett, thanks to you.
Yeah.
What do you think, Danny?
Good idea.
Shoot, you know what? If I could be on the deck helping instead of the wheelhouse, I could, you know, I'm more into that now anyway nowadays, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that'd be a great thing. I think we could help you with a lot of things.
Would you be into that, Jordan?
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll definitely help. Definitely.
All right, let's see. By the way, Relentless Trip, Jolene, Isaac, and most everyone were so helpful. We have great people that fish with us. Chuck Zimmer, I've been thinking about doing a sushi clinic at the club. Do you know of a sushi chef who would help us out? Danny, take it away.
We have a friend, Phil and I. If you look back and see it, we did an adventure over at Andy Matsuda's Sushi Institute in Torrance, and I think he's put out more sushi chefs than anybody in the country. And I don't know if you're serious about it, whether you want to take one of his classes, but he's put more people, chefs into sushi bars than anybody in the country, maybe in the world, for that matter.
So Danny,
he's done it cross country. Yeah.
Chuck is the guy who is the president of the Redondo Rod and Reel.
Oh,
he's wondering if he would come over maybe and do a clinic for the club. We could pitch it to him.
We could talk to him.
I'll come over and eat I'll eat the sushi all day.
Oh,
I
my
love that.
God.
That sounds like
My
a plan
God.
to me.
I bet
Chuck,
Chuck
that would be
provide the
unbelievable, And it steps it up. It steps it up. Things have changed so much over the years, and everybody understands, the value of good raw fish now too.
Yep.
So that's, It's a good deal. The good idea.
Israel De La Cruz says, Brett, yeah, the Relentless trip was a fun trip. Everybody helping each other out. And that's the Friedman Adventures. That's why Danny's here, because he thinks the way I think. That's why you're here, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I want to screw the other guy and,
Nope, that's not what fishing's about.
It's
That's
like
not what it's about.
being as helpful as we all
Oh
can.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Israel's one of those people also. Mario, the Mustad Rip Roller kills the BFT.
I heard the rip rollers are high, the good bait. Yeah, they have them up to 400 or 500 grams now. It's a pretty heavy bait, so they can get down there.
Big Duke, anyone know if those calicos are still there in the pond at the Hyatt? Also, looking forward to getting back over there next
seen
month.
them.
Yeah,
I
it's been a
saw
while.
them, but
Yeah.
it's been I've never seen one, caught. But
The Knox throws us $10. Thank
Oh,
you
here we
so
go.
good.
Thank you
very
much.
much.
Bless you.
Freeman Adventures mentioned albacore the other day. My father and the family elders always catching albacore. Where did they go? Bonsai. I think it's just oceanography.
It's timing.
Yeah.
It's timing.
They'll be
know.
back.
cycle.
on
They'll
that
be
one
back.
day,
It
yeah.
cycles. It cycles.
Yeah,
You
you
just never know. Usually cooler water, chovy. It just it's one of those things. I won't call it because we were blessed by the El Nino in '83 when the biologists said the ocean's going to die because of the hot water, and we had the big eyes, the yellowfin, the dorado, and everything. And the very next year, not even 9 months later, we had albacore.
Mm-hmm.
So to call and predict that, there's only one guy that knows what's going on there. It's none of us.
Nope.
Yeah.
He's above us, man.
Yeah.
Way above
Way
us.
up there. Yeah.
All right, DJB, did I hear right? Pin a squid to a jig for bluefin tuna?
It's artificial.
Yeah.
It's a plastic squid, but it looks so real. You won't believe it. So I've got two. You've got a glow jig that's this big. One here that's, the squid is that big, and one down here that's about that big.
Just helps with the
It
flow.
looks unbelievable.
Isaac says he's going to keep asking questions to keep the conversation moving. We're trying to get out of here, Isaac.
We got fish to catch, man.
Take it easy. Yeah, don't worry about it. We want to go out and catch some spotted bay bass and produce a video for you all tomorrow. All right, here's Isaac with another one. New lures predictions for this year. So I can go buy them at the shows to get ahead of the game. I have no prediction there.
I don't. I'm a bass fisherman, so I look at whatever's coming out of Japan for that. But for this stuff, I'm not really. I don't know what's going to be the new deal.
Are you talking about for bluefin?
Yeah, let's go with
Yeah,
bluefin.
bluefin. Just stay with. Go. You know what you need to do is go to your local tackle shops. All these guys are in the know.
Mm-hmm.
They will tell you. They're not going to steer you wrong because if they do, you won't be back.
Exactly.
So they all have tremendous credibility. Ask them what they believe in, and each one might be a little different, but I'm sure they've got a great track record with whatever they're going to push on you.
All right,
because they want
man.
to see your business in the future.
Brett is talking to Isaac, says, hey, take a look at the new Nomad squid lure. All right, boys, I say we wrap it up. It's been almost 2 hours.
Oh my God! It's
Time to
amazing.
fish. Time to go get some
Another marathon.
spotties, hopefully.
Yeah, let's
You got,
go
oh yeah, that's
Let's go
right.
get
You
some
gotta go.
spotties.
That's
We're going to
it.
go get some spotted bay bass.
Time to go get some fish.
All right.
I'll let you say something to the fans out there who love you, Jordan.
I appreciate you
We
guys.
love you.
Appreciate you guys wanting to listen to me, man. I'm no pro whatsoever. I'm nothing compared to these guys, but I really appreciate you guys. You actually need to, want to hear my 2 cents, man. If you guys ever need any questions or have any questions, hit me up on Instagram or at the lake even. Don't be shy. If I'm out there, you'll see me out there fishing trout or bass all the time. Just come say hello, and I'll be happy to help.
How do we find you on Instagram?
My Instagram is Jordan. So it's my name, JORDAN _ Horita, HORITA is my last name, and then _ fishing. Pretty simple. I'm right on Instagram. So.
All right, and Daiwa's website, is that a place to go to look at the various products?
Yeah, we
they
got
have?
all of our new products that showcase on there at Daiwa.us. Definitely go take a look at them. Got brand new stuff all the time coming out. All the new latest and greatest, man. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year.
And Danny Kadota, another great show, my friend.
Oh my God! Thanks for tuning in, folks. Love it, and we'll have more for you. We'll have some technical next week. We're going to do some technical things on our rods. and show you some of the innovations
Stay
that
tuned for that.
they've
Changed the trout game. They will change the saltwater game and the freshwater. It'll change everything.
It's just really hard to believe that some of these guys haven't grasped it yet. But I dealt with that back in the old Loomis days and everything else, or with Spectra, where everybody said, "Nah, we'll never use that."
You want to
stuff."
be ahead
But
of the game. You're
I
talking about being ahead of the
guarantee
game. Get these rods. You'll
this
be
stuff
ahead of
will
the
give
game.
you- they'll give you a huge edge on performance.
Yeah, you guys want to be ahead of the game, take a look at these. Trust me, for my trout fishing, they've done wonders. Imagine what they can do everywhere else.
All right, a whole slew of comments up there, you guys, about what a great show it was and how they love you both so much.
Great.
So we thank you all very, very much.
Thank you all, guys.
For Danny,
Yep.
for Jordan, I'm Phil Friedman saying have a great evening. I'll see you in a few hours on the morning briefing. Take care, my friends.